Alright, heat one, no cautions. So if you wreck, please get off the track. If you can't get off the track, please tow.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Long Pond, Pennsylvania, here for the ARCS A² Cup Series as we get ready to dive straight into the action here with some heat racing. I'm Kristina Ryan. Alongside me is Kevin Young, and it's been a minute since we've been in the booth together. Kevin, how are you doing today?
I'm doing more than well. Great to see you again, Kristina. We can make a good little pairing. I think last time was a champ car race in Michigan, if my memory serves me correct. It's been a while, but we're here, like you said, in Pocono for some good old A² Cup Series actions. Obviously, you're replacing Carmen here tonight, and we are ready. As qualifying is just wrapped up, and get ready for the first of two heats here, 4 laps that are going to settle the second row on down for the field.
Yeah, absolutely. Wasting no time here. The first heat going to have Seth Wansing and Brandon Fetterplace on the front row, and those two will lead us down. Now, if I remember correctly, now since Seth Wansing on the pole, one of the front row starters will be locked into that starting position. Everybody else going to have to fight for it here as we look at that first heat starting order as they all pull out from that diagonal starting position, and it looks like already a little bit of confusion going on down there.
See a little bit of confusion. Drivers will kind of slot out here, some going left, some going right. Two drivers that ended up locking out the front row here are Daniel Michelle and Edward Marshall, respectively. So both drivers are on the front row. And it's going to be quite interesting to see as this will decide the inside line. And with only 4 laps and being such a long track, and we saw throughout the weekend in real life and usually at Pocono, this is a track position-like track where you want to get to the front and you want to be ahead because of the dirty air. So it's going to be quite interesting to see these drivers trying to take advantage. And maybe for a driver a little bit farther back, like a Tommy Withers, a Jack Mulkey, they could use this opportunity to kind of launch themselves up a little bit to get themselves a little bit further up in the qualifying order.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to be a 4-lap heat race. The starting order for that heat race looks a little like this. You have Seth Wansing with Brandon Fetterplace, Bren Roberts, Emma Kruger, Tom Sears, Steven Overstadt, Ryan Pennell, Mike LaJoy, Cody Riggs, Matthew Kent, Jack Mulkey, and Tommy Withers. So we fight a bit with the scoring here. So forgive me for that. That is your verbal starting order.
Yeah. Good old SDK always likes to fight you at the worst times. Carmen's had problems with it. I've had problems with it. It's a great program, but it will always bite you in the rear at the times you least expect it.
Every time. We'll work on that, but go ahead.
They're going to come here just to let you know as well, Kristina, as you obviously are new here. There are no cautions in these heats, so if a driver does spin or make a mistake, we stay green. It's going to be 4 green laps to the end. No cautions, no nothing. So if you make a mistake, you better try to limp it around, or maybe you'll have to tow. But you have to see where you go here. So pace car going to take the left into the pit lane here. It's going to be on Seth Wansing's control. Green flag is out, and away we go for heat number 1. And R, the inside line, gets the boogie, while Featherplace is a little bit stuck on the outside.
Yeah, so far pretty much still side by side, even through the back. A couple cars peeking out to the inside. Dead even between the two leaders, but it looks like that number 9 car is going to get the slight advantage out of turn number 1.
If they'll slide it up here and get the position for the place, you can see 3 wide in the back there. Emma Kruger, Bren Roberts, and I believe that is Tom Sears in the 14. That Shark Week inspired paint scheme is going to end up losing a spot here too. Kruger going to jump up the 3rd.
Yeah, Kruger up to 3rd now. You can see that Sheets little Dale Jr. throwback too in that number 1 machine just behind her. Still, Fetterplace not too far behind. Wansing looking to the inside here into turn 3. This is what those short heat races are going to promote, these big moves early on. Not much time to get it done here. Wansing leads lap 1.
It's risk reward here, as Wansing said will lead lap 1 here for Seth Wansing, Emma Krugers. We're actually getting close to the end of the playoffs here. 5 rounds to go after this, and we'll go for a little bit of a debrief during the warm-up to get you guys all caught up. Guys and gals, I should say, or non-binary pals, as Connor would like to say. But regardless, in that regard, Emma Kruger, Seth Wansing definitely need good starting positions here as Featherplace, Oberstadt, and even Roberts all have wins and are locked into the playoffs as it should stand. So Kruger and Wansing near the bubble need to have strong heats to put themselves higher up through the grid.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking back now from race leader Seth Wansing as he gets into the wall there, and so does Fetter Place. They both hit it.
Roberts a little bit farther back too, hit it as well. They all followed the leader off the cliff there. They saw the braking line, they saw the points, and they're like, let's go at that line. And Wansing gives that wall a good smack. Now, these cars are built tough. They can take a bit of a beating, especially if you hit it flush. But Wansing can only get away with that so many times before the car will scream no muss.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised they didn't run over the back of each other, too, with how much momentum Seth Wansing lost there. Now under fire from Emma Kruger for second place as they get tight there in turn number 1. And that's going to allow Steven Overstadt to try and take advantage because now Kruger's going to be out of momentum down the backstretch. 2 to go in heat number 1.
Yep, Steven Overstadt. Cody Riggs will be in the distance there. You saw that black Camaro 3 hit the wall. That's a little bit further back, unrelated to this battle we're watching up front here. Overstadt, 1 win so far this season. Got the win at Talladega. This full-time driver, locked in the playoffs, but obviously wants to help Beatron Racing here. They've been on a little bit of a downswing in the Constructors, and getting a good starting spot will definitely carry the flag for Beatron. He's kind of in a rock and a hard place situation here. He's got a fast 70 behind, and he's got 2 cars ahead that are not going to give an inch as we're starting the white flag lap. Wansing going to try to challenge down the straight, going into 1. Overstadt going to use the draft here to try to find a way to make it 3 wide.
Yeah, absolutely. Now they're going to be side by side going into turn number 1. Not much help there for Wansing, but he started on pole. He wants to finish the race out front if he can. Still side by side as they make their way out of turn number 2, but it's for second place instead of first this time.
Overstadt can kind of help either driver he picks here. Who does he want to give the toe, the slipstream to? It looks like it's Overstadt and Kruger. Wansing going the wrong way quickly. Got pinched on the inside, and now he's going to end up being trained by 3, and now possibly even another Lion Power Motorsport machine. And Seth Wansing, Overstadt a little bit up, opening door for Wansing, but it's clear sailing up front.
Kruger 3 wide on top. That's all behind Brandon Fetter Place. Wansing going to send it in deep in the final corner. What can he do? Tom Sears lurking in the back as they now come out of the final corner. Contact! Fetter Place is going to win the heat. They're going to be 3 wide for third. Sears is going to come home 6th, and I believe Overstadt's the one who's going to walk away with third place there.
Yeah, Emma Kruger not going to be too thrilled with that 38 with that little tap there. 38's a little apologetic, but Kruger going to end up losing 2 spots. But it's going to be Feather Place, Wansing, Overstadt, and the rest we'll see when we see the grid here as it just quickly flashed by. But the car's finished up, and here we go again for heat number 2.
That was an exciting start to things there, wasn't it? Here's the unofficial results from heat number 1. Fetter Place, Wansing, Overstadt, LaJoy, Kruger, as you mentioned, losing a lot of spots at the end there. 3 wide on the top. Good job to hang on to that. I'm surprised they didn't come across sideways and upside down, Kevin.
Yeah, they're fighting. They always love to fight for every inch in the heat races. Sometimes it baffles me in Carbon because it's a risk-reward situation, but you can't take the driving out of the driver, and you want to always get best you can, even if it's a heat race here. So you can see drivers lining up there. One actually going to start in the pit lane, it looks like, possibly, or at least spawn in the pit lane. But results there, Feather Place, Wansing, Overstadt, LaJoy, Kruger, Sears, Pinnell, Withers, Kent, Mulkey, Roberts, Riggs. That will be the inside line, and now we'll set the outside line here.
Yes, it will, and that'll give us an exciting lineup here. The drivers for heat number 2 in order going to be Tommy Reynolds, Josh Gaiman, Briley Wright, Matthew Leiter, Kevin Feemster, Austin Purnell, James Kerr, Dale Markowski, David Wright, Elrich George, and that car that we saw in the pit lane was Donald Ray, so he'll be starting from the pit lane in this 4-lap heat, banking on disaster happening ahead of him.
Should be knowing if you are a regular viewer of A Square Cup Series, you're wondering why is Donald Ray driving for a different team here in Sunday Money Racing. Well, news came down the pipeline here that with Sunday Money Racing, they've signed Donald Ray, former presidential racing driver who had to step away for, I believe it was personal issues, is now able to come back and compete at a full-time level and will replace Cody Pinnell in the 50. He's now driving that 112 machine at the moment, maybe a bit of a late entry here, late signing, but he is now back and in turn going to fight against his old ride in the main event here. But right now, Donald Ray, welcome back to A Square competition here. But we'll stay on board here and we'll see as they're going to come up the last corner. Here's Tommy Reynolds, runaway favorite so far, usually gets that car qualified well, looking to keep that good performance going. Gaiman trying to stop the bad luck bug here, trying to get a good starting spot. And then you got Wright and Leiter, 2 drivers needing wins, and getting a good starting position out of this heat will definitely put him in a good spot.
Yeah, Leiter would love to get it done here today because he won the Saturday Night Showdown race here in the spring. So good candidate to try and take it home tonight. Pace car's off. We'll get ready to go racing. It's in the hand of Reynolds and Gaiman. Green flag in the air. We're off and away.
And it's very odd to see Gaiman not in that blue and white machine. It's that generic white car like the texture hasn't loaded in. So
yeah, trading paint's not being our friend so far this afternoon. Although with SDK as well, who says I think we're just having all kinds of fights with technology this afternoon. But down the back straightaway, down in Long Pond straightaway, I should say. It's a really good advantage for Tommy Reynolds to start things off. Gaiman going to be filing into second, and it's not quite as side-by-side as it was in that first heat.
yeah, you can honestly say that Gaiman's probably driving one of those testing cars back in the day with limited sponsors and just number.
Oh!
Big lick there. That was Austin Pennell, I believe, that smacked that wall a ton.
I think it was Feemster. Yeah,
It was Feemster.
Purnell did a good job to jump out of the way as James Kerr now trying to get by as well, but Feemster nailed the wall and still struggling with the handling there, probably severely hindered the right front there, knocked the wall down out of turn 2.
He hit that wall just as hard as Brent Roberts did in the first heat. You saw he was third, and he fell all the way down to basically last position. So
yeah,
just showing he's just trying to bring that thing home and hope that he is still tribal but still pointing in the right direction. But back to the front, Tommy Reynolds holding his own. He's have Gaiman kind of chasing him down here. Gaiman going to try to get a run here, take the inside. He's going to have to make the move in the tunnel turn here. Not the most unorthodox spot to make a pass. You can see Reynolds trying to aggressively make that move not happen.
Yeah, trying to side draft and pull that car back. Now a crossover move right on the rear diffuser. That's going to check everybody up because I think even Tommy Reynolds was a bit closer than comfort there on Josh Gaiman. So put Gaiman to the lead now 3 wide for second again. Where have we seen this before?
Yeah, we saw that last lap, last time by. Luckily, it doesn't end in tears for anyone this time by, except maybe Tommy Reynolds, who loses 2 spots in the making, but he is going to get a good run here with 2 to go. Try to challenge Briley Wright, but right up front, still smooth sailing for that 61 machine, if you can call it a 61 machine, of Joshua Gaiman.
Yeah, it'd be funny to say something, Josh Gaiman losing sponsors, but that's definitely not the case. Just need that car to update in a little bit of time. We'll try and work on that, as we got some trouble behind.
Yeah, Austin Pennell smacked the wall a ton there, and you can see right there, Leiter is going to get a good run here to make a move, and Austin Pennell going to slot back into 6. Didn't hit it as hard as we saw previous move with Kevin Feemster, but that was still a good lick there. Almost mowed that wall down. And there's Leiter. Gets a little bit of opportunity there. Feemster running up the circuit. It's going to be a battle for third. As Bright can't make a move for the lead. You can see if Leiter can put himself maybe in the catbird seat here with 1 to go as they're going to come down at turn 3 to start the final lap.
Yeah, it's going to be job done for P3, but will Reynolds get the run and try the crossover? He's sure going to give it an attempt as they come down. 1 to go for Gaiman and Wright as they battle ahead, but the battle now is for 3rd place and what looks like 5th place back there now, as it looks like Purnell and Wright are going at it as well.
Yep. Wright, again, another driver that's on the cut line, but we'll talk about that when we get to the end of this thing right here.
Side by side, down the Long Pond straight, but it's all in the mirror of Josh Gaiman. That's what he wants to see. Briley Wright trying to gain just as much as he can in that number 8 machine, not able to do it yet. Oh, he's getting a little tight out of turn number 2, nearly gets into the wall, keeps it out of the safer barrier. That's going to give Josh Gaiman all the room I think he needs. This should be job done for the number 61 machine, as they all scramble once again for the podium positions behind your race leader. Checkers in the air. Gaiman wins heat number 2 with Wright, Leiter, Reynolds, and Kerr to round out the top 5. And a much little cleaner battle to the end there. Not quite as exciting as that first one.
Looks cleaner, but it's a good pretense here. So we're going to start warm up here and get some word from the pipeline here that make sure the audio levels are good, Kristina, because someone is reporting in the chat here that the voice level's on scream mode. So maybe something's a little bit high.
The voice level on scream mode. Okay.
Just passing along what I'm hearing.
Yeah. Working on that now. Bit of a, what is it, Murphy's Law here. If anything can go wrong, it will situation. So we try to adjust that around and give you a better broadcast.
Yep, at least that's what I'm hearing from Feather Place, who is in the chat, loves to watch these streams while driving. So I guess it's not about probably
that
good
in-car radio. How's he
Yeah.
hear that over the engine, I wonder? Give that a little bit of a tweak. Hopefully it's a little bit better now.
Yep.
Okay, good to know.
He'll probably let us know. Chat as well can let us know as well if you're watching, if the audio levels are good right now. Yeah, give us a good little heads up here, as it's like you said, Murphy's Law. When things can go wrong, they will end up trying to find a way to go long here. That's why I always keep a positive attitude. But we'll take this opportunity to kind of settle up what we're seeing here. So Brandon Featherplace right now, speaking of that driver that was giving us the all heads up on the audio levels, is the regular season points leader. He has a 20-point lead over Tommy Reynolds. And this season so far, coming into Pocono tonight, 11 drivers have won a race to lock themselves into the A-Square Cup Series playoffs. The only driver not on that list is Aiden Norman, who's 2 wins, but he got both as a part-time driver. His wins do not count towards the playoffs. This is 5 races to go before Pocono. Before the 5 rounds to go before the cut right here, with Pocono being one of those remaining 5 before we find out the field set for the playoffs at the end of Daytona. Speaking of the cut line right now, it's currently a bit of a 10-point battle between Emma Kruger and David Wright, as David Wright is the last driver in on the cut line right now, 10 points clear of Emma Kruger. And you look up, David Wright has a little bit of a cushion. He's chasing out Kevin Feemster, 14 points behind him. Ryan Pinnell is even a little bit farther behind, about 20-25 points, and it's a big gap between him and Austin Pinnell. So anything can still change here for the most part. And you're looking at drivers like Emma Kruger, Briley Wright, James Kerr, Jack Mulkey, Matthew Leiter, Donald Ray, Alfred George, Cody Riggs, Marshall Kent, just name a few. That's about 10 drivers right there. If they were to find a win in the next 5 races, that's going to change the cut line. And instead of David Wright being the line, then changes up to Kevin Feemster. Another driver wins, the line goes to Austin Pinnell, Ryan Pinnell, and then Austin Pinnell, and the gap grows bigger and bigger. So right now, it's all the play.
Yeah, and that's not what you want to see if you're one of those drivers trying to point your way in, because you're already have so much parity in the season. Of course, you look at Tommy Reynolds, who's won 5 times, but you look at everybody else who's won at least once. There's been so many different winners so far this year, and that's why situations like a couple weeks ago back at Chicago was so important for Emma Kruger, who was in a position to win that race. And it shows how important the wins are here. What, love it or hate it, that's the format that's underway, and it has created this sort of danger zone for these drivers down in the high teens and outside of the top 10, because they have to race their way in on points. But when that cut line is ever moving, depending on who ends up in victory lane, it really can get stressful, especially with the walls closing in on you, and you get closer and closer and closer to that cut line.
Yep, and you look at Tom Rouse, he's got 5 wins this season. It's something that, like, you think, oh, what about the other drivers? No other driver has more than 2, and that's 3 drivers, which are Reynolds, Gaiman, and Michelle, who have 2 wins in their own camp right now, and Breo as well. So that's 3 drivers in that regard that have 2 wins. And right now, like I said, if you're Emma Kruger, Chicago was a good opportunity to try to get that win. And obviously, things didn't go our way there for one reason or another. We don't have to rehash on that. But she's still got a couple more tracks here for her. Obviously, some drivers are good at Daytona. Some will be good at Michigan, Richmond, short tracks. So it's not game over yet. You still get a good mixture of tracks. But if you like these very long tracks, this is one of your last chances, along with Michigan, to try to make something happen. As we're coming down to 40 seconds to go in the warp here, Daniel Michelle, last driver, qualified pole position, top of the timesheets here in warm-up. Doesn't mean much, as most drivers are electing to take pit stop practice and in and out, maybe use the bathroom, make sure to do whatever they need to before that clock strikes 0, and we are ready to go for the main event of 80 laps.
Yeah, and it's worth noting too, this is one of the most unique tracks on the circuit, for it being literally a triangle, Kevin. It is one of those tracks that you either love or you hate, and the people that love this track are really going to take advantage of that and try to win here. It is a driver's race track. There's a lot of different things going on here. It is, you know, it's a favorite or a most hated one. There is really no in between with how unique that this track is. We take a look at some of the race info. That is the racetrack there as it sits, and all 3 corners are completely different, Kevin.
Mm-hmm. They're modeled after, if my memory serves me correct, actually, they are modeled after 3 different types of circuits, if I'm not mistaken. One after Indy, one after Auto Club, and one after Riverside, if my memory serves me correct.
I believe it was, I think, you're definitely right about Indy. I think one of them was modeled after Milwaukee. But,
oh, yeah. Milwaukee, and then one California track, which was probably Riverside.
Riverside, yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, Turn 2 being that one, it's just back in the day, way back in the day before the repays and everything, people would use their Indianapolis setup as a baseline for this track because of that turn number 2. being modeled right after. That's also the tunnel turn, which is a calamity corner of sorts. We already saw it in our heat races. It's like a little concrete canyon through there. It closes up really, really quick, and we're going to be seeing guys and girls knocking down the wall all day long today. But with that, let's take a look at the starting grid here. It's going to be... Go ahead.
If you want to do it, you can. You are the guest, but if you want me to do this, I'm the regular. I can do it either, but I'll just take it over here. We got Daniel Michelle and Edward Marshall locking out the front row. They got that right by qualifying 1-2. Didn't have to go through the heats. Next up are your heat winners in Brandon Third Place and Joshua Gaiman. They'll line up row 2. Going down the grid, we got Seth Wansing and Briley Wright in row 3. Matthew Leiter and Mike LaJoy in row 4. Tommy Reynolds and James Kerr in row number 5. Emma Kruger and James Kerr in row 6, Austin Pinnell and Tom Sears in row number 7, Brian Pinnell and David Wright in row number 8, Tommy Withers and Dale Markowitsky in row 9, Matthew Kent, Alfred George rounding out row 10, Jack Mulkey and Kevin Feemster in row 11, and Brandon Roberts and Donald Ray will make up the last row of the grid. Actually, one more row, sorry. And then Cody Riggs making up the last row of the grid, 25th, with Stefan Oberstadt electing to start from the pit lane.
Probably the safest place to be right about now.
He thinks it'll be Chaos Lap 1, which take advantage of what you can find. All drivers do have one fast repair in the tank if they do need it. So you don't want to obviously burn at Lap 1, though, if you can help it.
No, you definitely don't, especially on a track like this. It's going to be a long race. It's going to be an endurance, not a sprint. These drivers very much know that. Of course, they had the sprint already. They've got a little taste of how the cars are going to handle. That's going to help them as they head off into turn 1. They at least know a little bit what to expect, except for the 2 drivers on the front row. I almost feel like it's a disadvantage that you don't get to run those heat races, but you do get to start on the front row.
It seems like it's a cat bag thing. If you got the pace to do it, you can make it work. And we've seen them run up front for the most part or get the cars run down. So you get a disadvantage and you get an advantage. It's up to different drivers how they want to play it. But Pace Car going to take the hard left into the pit lane. And we are going green here. And away we go for the 80 laps at Pocono. And already you can see a good move on the outside line as Edward Marshall wants to take the lead in the 1.
Yeah, still, it's going to be a big mess behind them as they go 3, maybe 4 wide. It looks a little tamer than I was expecting off into the first corner. They're taking it easy and minding their P's and Q's, but side by side for the lead out front. Good thing Trading Paints doesn't sponsor this one as they head down the long pond straightaway, waiting for those paints to update. But that is a Mustang out front, and that is going to be
Edward
Marshall out front early here.
Yeah, first white car unsponsored is Edward Marshall, and the second one is the one we saw during the heat races unsponsored is 61 of Gaiman. And you can see third. It doesn't help 1, 2, 3 are all white, but you can see that is Daniel Michelle, and then the fourth one is Brandon Featherplace in 4th. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 Lion Power Motors machines in the top 4 here. As you're going to see already a run here out of 1. It looks like the door's going to be open for Gaiman, but he's not going to get as much of a good slipstream tow, and Marshall will lead lap 1.
But Gaiman going to get that side draft, going to end up on the inside, may have an opportunity to take the lead. One car coming into the pit lane in the background there. I think that's Overstat. It is coming in, is Overstat. Yep. So potentially an issue there with him, but as they make their way now out of turn number 1 and down the long pond straightaway, Gaiman's going to have a slight advantage, about a half a car length. Marshall not opting to go down and side draft too hard, so it's going to be a drag race side by side. He's going to have a little bit of momentum on that top lane to challenge Gaiman off into turn number 2.
That's kind of an opportunity to make the pass. That's what we saw during heat number 2. Gaiman made that pass work similar to Reynolds there. Actually, it was Leiter by mistake that made the move on Reynolds, and he'll get the job done here. So put up to the position to the front. And now Michelle going to try to get a move around here as well. And you just see in tow. Gaiman going to try to come up a little bit the road. And he's going to get trained here, hit there by Featherplace in the wall.
Yeah, he nearly got turned there going off into turn 3. Looked like the handling went away. He got pinched down a lot harder than I think he was expecting to. Now it's 3 cars out front, Michelle, Marshall, and Wansing. Remember how aggressive Wansing was trying to win his heat there. He now sits in the 3rd position as we look at him, and he tries to gain on Marshall and Michelle down that back straightaway.
Again, he's a team boss. He is the owner of Sunday Money Racing, and right now he had a good run. He was looking good to make the playoffs, and then he had a spell where he had some connection issues and some personal issues, and he lost a lot of points. He's still in the playoffs right now, and his runs he gets, he'll be good and going good, but you do not want to follow in the bad steps here. Get a bad run and make a hole even dig deeper and deeper, so maybe by Daytona you have a chance you can get leapfrogged, a chance you could fall out. But Seth Wansing holding 3rd right now, wants to get a win to make those blues go away. And right there in the front, you can see the 2 cars there. It's Michelle on the outside, Wanzing Michelle on the outside, Marshall on the inside, and Michelle will lead the lap as Marshall will fall down the second. Wanzing gonna make a move for third as they're followed in tow by Gaiman.
I mean, they are just covered up coming out of turn number 3. They were about to all run each other over out of that final corner. If one person hits the wall here, Kevin, it's over. Caution number 1 of the day, because they are all over each other this early on in the race. Only 80 laps, although that is a lot around Pocono, but it goes by pretty quick.
Yep, laps are kind of short here. But it's such a long track here. It should know that stages are 20, 40, and then 40 to finish at 80. So first stage break is going to be at 20 here. All drivers should be able to make it comfortably to the end of the stage. But we know some drivers, like, obviously you're not here every week, but Daniel Michelle, a driver in that regard, who is a little bit on the short run pace here, struggles a little bit on the longer pace, while other drivers we've seen that really get the life out of the tires to make it long. And obviously, if you're aggressive, you may not make the tires last as long as you need to. Gaiman, not going to lead that lap, but he's going to have the good run here to take the lead going into 1.
Yeah, and still side by side behind as they try and shuffle around, and it looks like Gaiman is going to have that advantage finally to stay ahead, and it's going to be Michelle and Wanzing, and now a little bit of a blink there from Wanzing out of turn number 1. That debris is going to be a little bit distracting to the competitors, but it looks like that car is okay, just a little bit of connection.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a issue for Wanzing in the past week. Saw New Hampshire, he was running quite well, and he had that connection issue, took him out of the running. Same thing with Tommy Reynolds as well. So one bad blink could easily take him out of any contention to win this race. But if you want to blink out, you want it early so you can dig yourself out of that hole. And at least on a track like Pocono, with it being so big, you can easily get yourself back in it if a blink does happen this early. But obviously, Wanzing doesn't want to roll the cosmic dice of fate here to make that happen.
No, you definitely don't. But on board now with Gaiman as he starts to scoot away a little bit from the field here. Really good opportunity to try and put some distance down. It's going to be hard to break away with how much of a hole these cars punch in the air, but he's where he wants to be, and he looks like he's really quick here in the short run. But here comes Seth Wanzing down through turn number 1.
Seth Wanzing going to get a possible run here. He's a little bit too far back to really get that run. You're going to want to go through the tunnel turn here. I think he's going to kind of buy his time here, and he doesn't have to force the issue at the very least. Everyone kind of single file here for the most part. You can see a little bit further back there, a little hard to tell, but you can see a little bit of battle. I think it's not Tommy Reynolds, it's David Wright, who's under attack here from Briley Wright. Briley Wright gone the wrong way quickly. Saw in lap 1, he was battling up near the front, and now he is falling down to 12th, and he's almost in danger of going out, obviously outside of stage points right now, could easily get outside the top 15 at the rate he's going.
Yeah, Briley Wright, one of the biggest losers right now. Daniel Michelle has lost 3 spots as well. Fetter Place has lost 4. The biggest gainer since the green flag dropped is David Wright. He's up 5 positions from the drop of the green flag, who's right in front of Briley Wright, who lost the most positions so far.
So again, it's a marathon, not a sprint, but going in the right direction definitely does help at the moment. So drivers running single file here. Kind of buying the times, trying to find a hole, trying to find something to do. And right there, you can see Michelle kind of changing the gears of Marshall, who is changing the gears of Wanzing. And it's just, again, like you said, if one driver pancakes the wall or misses the line, I got a bad feeling it's going to be like the leaders falling off the cliff here. The lemmings going over the cliff, and next thing you know, it's going to be 3 cars pancaking the wall in different degrees of severity.
Yeah, well, when you all run up on each other like that, it's just the nature of this racetrack, and if you run out of space, you're just all going to run each other over, and it's one of those situations where you just really need to be heads up and make sure that if the guy in front of you is going to smack the wall, you give yourself enough room to get out of there, because that's how some of these big crashes happened over the years at Pocono, because everybody ends up in that same lane. It's not a multi-groove racetrack.
That's the same thing you see on in public roads on the highways as well. You don't respect your neighbor, don't give yourself any space. Next thing you know, you're up on top of that person. But a little bit different in a race car situations. Obviously, you want to be close enough to get runs to make passes than on the racing.
That's the caveat, isn't it? You want to be close enough to tailgate. You have to tailgate your other drivers out here because you're racing them. But one little mistake, and you're going to the infield care center a bit early. Here's Brandon Fetterplace making a move on Mike LaJoy now to get back into the top 5. I guess I heard he lost a few positions, thought, hey, maybe he listens to it, right? So he's trying to make his way back up through the field here.
He listens in on these broadcasts, so he can hear us what we're saying and kind of tweak us if we want. You can see right up there as well, you can see Michelle not sticking behind Marshall anymore. One line power car going to fall to the clutches of the 25. And it looks like the run's not going to favor those. Michelle's going to probably have to tuck back up here and find the open hole to get another run.
Yeah, it's going to be Gaiman up front, still leading over Wanzing and Marshall. But this side-by-side battle here is Michelle thinks about going for it on Marshall, and you can see as this starts to unfold, we have about a 6-car breakaway and then a little bit of room back to Tommy Reynolds, and it looks like these are the main players so far in stage 1 as we get to the halfway point next time by.
Getting a little bit of a fight here. Playoff battle implications here. Kruger and David Wright here battling just outside the top 10. And right now, David Wright going to get the spot here. He's getting a nice helicopter spot right there. Just at the back end, right as they cross the start finish line now. That is 10th position. And 1 point can make all the difference here. And right now with David Wright being right now at the moment getting a stage point, while Emma Kruger not getting a stage point, that's going to grow that gap to 11.
Yeah, and that's why Kruger wants to get up on the wheel there and trying to get to the top 10 if she can. And oh, they all smacked the wall out of turn 1 just like we were talking about. Just about everybody knocked the wall down in that group. That's going to cause some big issues if it's enough to cause any damage there. So we can see here, it doesn't seem to have stopped David Wright as he's going to have a look on the inside of James Kerr. Going to force Kerr up the hill a little bit. So the battle raging on even outside of the top 10 here.
Yep. By the way, for anyone in the chat here, obviously we're still trying to get Trading Paints to comply with us, so we'll probably get another look at this at the next stage break here. So try to hold on if you can. We'll try to describe the cars in detail. But regardless, we got to move here for the race lead as Seth Wanzing is going to get a run here, and he's probably going to send one off in the 1. He wants to lead. He wants to get that number 9 Vavely machine. Take my word for it, at the very least, what it is. Try to get the front, but he's not going to get the run here. On the slot back in a second, but Edward Marshall there to pick up the crumbs.
Yeah, and it looks like Michelle bounced off the wall now as well, so some more issues. I think it's the tires starting to wear out a bit, Kevin. They're starting to wear that right front, abuse that right front a little bit, and they're running out of racetrack pretty quick.
Yeah, look, Seth Wanzing goes up the track just a bit there. It's going to open the door for Marshall. Marshall's going to be side by side. Entire management. Some drivers do it good. Some drivers don't do it as good. And this is a good example where you need to get those tires to work here in order to give yourself some good long-run pace. Try to get to the end of stage here. Marshall going to slide up for a second. Wanzing going to get a good run here. Can easily answer back. But he's going to have to get the move more decisively done like he didn't do for the lead of the race. Looks like he's not going to stick out here. But you see Michelle was also getting a little squirrely as well, thinking he may jump. And there's Feather Place, the only car loaded inside the top 6 right here. Easy to point out, he won't get the job done as well, as Wanzing's going to be under pressure from Michelle for 3rd.
Yeah, it seems to me as if we're seeing a lot of the tire strategy unfolding here. There's still going to be 8 to go at the line by the time we get back around here on the stage. So this is where that crossover point's going to be. Some of these guys and girls running their cars really hard early on, some of them saving stuff, as you mentioned. I think Fetter Place had a little bit saved in the tank because he's been making moves these last couple laps. Haven't seen him making a bunch of crazy maneuvers early on. I think Gaiman, having been in the lead, has the opportunity to save a little bit. Wanzing and Marshall maybe pushing a bit more to try to go after it here, as there's all side by side, and you can see it's allowing Gaiman to scoot away off into turn number 1.
That's one of the perks of racing, different strategies for different drivers, what they like to do. They can run the car how they choose, and they can make a strategy how they choose. Sometimes it will work, sometimes it will bite them in the rear end. And Pocono, obviously we'll worry about that as we get farther in the stages, but Pocono is one of those tracks where you see fuel mileage races. You see drivers stretching it to the absolute brink and trying to get to the end here. So we'll have to keep that in mind as this is a track that provides that. But you can see right there, Feather Place under attack from Mike LaJoy in this 88 here. Going to try to hang it around the outside. And we'll open up the battle box here. You can even see Tommy Reynolds in 7th. Had a little bit going a little bit the wrong way at the start. He's reeled back in this front pack. And he is already closing up here to his top 6. As Feather Place just trying to close the door on that 88, but not going to get the job done. I think the 88 is going to get a run.
Yeah, and out up front as well, Marshall and Wanzing side by side. Once again, that's Wanzing on the left-hand side, on the inside, going off into the corner, and that Chevrolet going to try and take a dive on the inside of Marshall yet again. And in the background there, it's going to be Daniel Michelle, who's waiting in the wings here, potentially going to have an opportunity to go 3 wide down Long Pond straightaway with a good run out of the corner, but now going to be on the inside. It is so hard to keep that momentum up, especially with the way the side draft works. That's another thing about this, Kevin, with how aggressively these cars side draft one another. If you get side by side for too long, you're both going to lose time. So you might be apt to just give the guy the position and re-rack and get ready to try and make another move through the next straightaway, because if you run side by side the entire length of Long Pond, you're going to lose so much time. That's what allowed Gaiman to run away with a half-second lead right now. He's not too much further away from running out of the draft range and really being able to set sail on the rest of the stage.
Yeah, IndyCar is one, like, not IndyCar. Well, the unspoken word, I should say. My brain was actually about to say Indianapolis is another track where that same thing happens, where you don't want to be side by side, you don't pull each other away. It's about kind of just saying, look, know your goose is cooked, get back in line, and then try to play nice and get back up and tow back ahead again.
Unless you got beef. In which case, you're absolutely going to try and pull the other guy back, even if it sinks your ship too. That's the selfishness of a race car driver. If you're mad at somebody, you will absolutely sink your own ship in the process.
Yeah, you'll be a thorn in the side. And that's the thing. Edward Marshall just smacks the wall there just a bit. A little tank slapper. He'll keep the spot, but that's going to open the door for Wanzing. But yeah, one other point as well. If you're trying to save fuel or you got a tire disadvantage, you're making that car just as wide. You're not letting up one bit because you're going the back the wrong way anyway. But Wanzing, it's still gaming up front as we have hit lap 16 here, closing on the end of the stage on 20. Marshall going to be on challenge here for Wanzing. Wanzing wants to get every point he can.
Yeah, and it looks like Wanzing going to try one more time to the bottom. Is going to clear. Will Marshall try for a crossover move? I don't know if he's going to have quite the momentum. He's going to take it to the outside. Wanzing puts up a half-hearted block. They both get it. Well, one gets to the wall. One nearly spins out. And now scrambling to get back into position is Seth Wanzing, and he's going to lose a heap of positions. And so now will Edward Marshall. Daniel Michel was playing it calm and collected, waiting for things to happen. And now, as you mentioned earlier, here comes Tommy Reynolds to the inside and gets into the back of the 34 of Fetter Place.
He's trying to find a way there, but Feather Place was going the wrong direction there, and he tried to give a little push, but it wasn't going to work, so he just has to find it. Like I said, it's 2-2 in front of him, so there's nowhere to go. He's just going to have to find a run to make it work here. But right now, a driver that's smiling, seeing all this, Josh Gaiman. He's currently got about a 7/10 gap over Edward Marshall, and he can kind of just sit there and watch and see another move there. And we see a pit stop in the distance. We'll have to hold that thought as Edward Marshall gets spun hard into the inside wall. He'll slide it, lock it down, and it's only one car. So we are going to say green here. He's going to
careful
racing surface. He'll just get it down here, but that is not friendly. Wanzing just had a mistake there on the back stretch as well. But, ooh, that is just a big oof moment.
That's an understatement. A big lick as well to the inside wall. Good job by everybody. Oh, now they're 3 wide. Hold that thought because we can't even get time to talk about it. 3 wide with Reynolds, Fetter Place, and I think Wanzing, who's been struggling there just a touch. No, that wasn't Wanzing. That was Michelle, who's dropping a few positions here. I'm not sure if Michelle maybe had something to do with that spin there for Marshall, but as they come down, no caution as you mentioned. There's going to be 3 to go at the line in stage number 1, and it's all going to be behind Josh Gaiman, as you mentioned, who's loving to see all this happen behind him. And now we got a car in pit lane, a little bit of pit strategy. That's Emma Kruger. Could not get into the top 10, said, well, this is a big enough racetrack. You can make a pit stop and stay on the lead lap. So strategy here from the number 70 to try to get to the front.
Saw a few drivers attempt to take that strategy. Emma Kruger, one of the first ones to blink here. As, again, like you said, she's kind of in a situation where she needs points. So I'm not going to get in the top 10. I know that's not going to happen, so might as well take a chance, pit, get some good track position for stage 2, and see if you can maybe use that clean air to your advantage as Pocono. Being kind of a one-groove racetrack, you can make it work if you got the pace to up front. Emma Kruger is banking. She's got some pace in that 7 machine as she's leaving the pit box now as the leaders are coming down the long straight here. As long as she can stay throttled up, you should have no real ill effects here from going a lap down.
Yeah, she's in 22nd place right now, and in 24th is Steven Overstat, so she should be good to go here. I think they close pit lane with 2 to go like they do in real life here, so I think she's the only one who opted for that strategy that wasn't having issues, so we'll see if that works out for her. We saw the pace she had in that heat race. I don't blame her for trying that strategy. I think she's a bit quicker in clean air. She needs to get away from all the chaos. And she needs to take gambles like this if she wants to try to make the chase. So
it worked last week in New Hampshire, where she was able to get a good, like David Wright had a good stage 1. She was able to get a good stage 2, put herself in a good spot at the end of the stage. But a little bit of misfortune for both drivers ended up putting them both in the teens for the race. So coming to lap 20 here, stage will end as soon as Gaiman crosses the line to start lap 21. So 1 lap to go here. So it's worth noting you're probably going to have to make a move, especially if you're a little bit further back. You want to get 1 more point. As you see Sears and Kerr fighting at the end of the stage here right there.
They're fighting over that point.
Yeah, you're going to have to make that move somewhere going into turn 3 if you want to keep that spot. So at the very least, you got to make the move a little bit proactively if you feel like you're under pressure. But look at this pack right, almost in the wall there, that one car. I think that was Wanzing that almost mowed down that wall.
Yeah, they're going absolutely ballistic back here, Kevin. And this is inside the points. They're just trying to get as many points as they can on this final stage. It's all happening behind Gaiman, who's extended a 2-second almost lead now with all this squabbling going on behind. And here comes Brandon Fetterplace, who bided his time through most of this stage, as has Tommy Reynolds. Now they're both inside the top 5 and looking for P2 out of the final corner. Josh Gaiman's going to come down to win stage number 1.
Now, and LaJoy's just going to keep the spot here.
Yeah. But Fetterplace and Reynolds with a great opportunity to move up. And who ended up with the position? It's going to be James Kerr ahead of Tom Sears for that last spot in the points-paying positions for stage number 1. And with 20 laps under our belt, a near incident, or a near caution, definitely an incident. Let's see if we can't go back and take a look at what happened to Edward Marshall, who had a heck of a time down the front straightaway here.
Yeah, you see here, he just gets a bit of a bump there coming down the line here. Maybe because late block there. You can see him make that move. And by that point, that car in third position was already on his corner panel there. And at that point, it was all she wrote for Edward Marshall.
And this is scary here, trying to get the car rolling again.
Ryan Pennell, and it's like going 200 miles an hour into that corner. If you see him coming up late, there's nothing you can do. You just got to hope that he pinches it. And at the end of the day, it didn't work out. Luckily, Ryan Pennell and no one hit him, but not good re-entry here. But you can just see again, just watch the rear camera there, just try to close the door, and at that point, it was too late.
Yep. You can hear the damage on that car too as he tries to get it going and goes for another 360.
Ryan Pennell, Ryan Pennell almost hits in that car 2 back, almost plowed in as well.
Yeah, very, very lucky, very good heads-up driving by everybody there to not pack one another. Josh Gaiman, one happy camper. Can't say that too often. Poor guy has had so much up and down luck. He's got a couple wins under his belt though. 6 wins in his career, and I believe 2 this season.
Yep. Bristol Dirt and another track that I'm blanking right now, but Bristol Dirt is one of them. I can confirm that at the very least.
And of course, with him being a Pennsylvania native, this is a bit of a home track for him, Pocono, Pennsylvania.
Yes.
So, not too bad. I think he's right at home, I would say. With Gaiman, LaJoy, and Fetterplace, the top 3, it's Reynolds, Wansing, Michelle, Leiter, Wright, David and Briley in that order, and James Kerr, the point scorers after that first stint here at Pocono.
By the way, for those keeping a score at home, it was the other track was Darlington. So if you got that right, mark it on your scorecard, hand it in at the end of the race, and you'll get a good pat on the back if you answer all the trivia questions correct that I make mistakes on.
Critically,
but anyway,
2 of the probably the more driver-oriented tracks, 2 of the toughest tracks on the calendar. Pocono's up there too. He should be a perennial threat through this race.
So everyone going to come on in here. Obviously, you want fresh tires. Emma Kruger probably going to stay out, as obviously she pitted under her before the stage ended. So she'll probably stay out, inherit the lead here. Now it's up to the virtual crews. One driver we didn't really say much of, but worked his way up through the field like a hot knife through butter. Mike LaJoy, currently in second position. The driver that needs a win to try to get themselves in the playoffs. Could be an easy shaker up if he can do it. And being in second position right now, he has that pace and that 88 black acid machine. So all drivers going to file in. You don't want to miss your box. You don't want to overshoot. And we'll see who wins the virtual battle out here.
Yeah, Emma Kruger, the only car not to pit because, of course, she pit before the pit lane closed. So a little strategy from the number 70 machine to put herself out front and out of the pit lane. Here they come. Gaiman wins the race off. And it's Reynolds, Fetterplace, and Michelle.
So soft for LaJoy there. He's buried behind Michelle and Wansing. Makes you wonder what was the cause of that. He has 16.9 second stops. I'm wondering if he may have missed his box.
Definitely could have.
Shot. Or had some slight damage he elected to fix. Maybe a 2-second damage. He just said, screw it, let's fix it.
Well, with as many people knocking down the wall as they did, I wouldn't be surprised about that, Kevin, because you don't want to burn up your fast repair already. I feel like if it's a light enough damage, you're going to want to repair it on your own and get that car back to full health. So if that is the case, feeling confident that he can get that car fixed up and back to running at full song. But
yeah, just watch the replay there. It looks like he didn't miss the box at all. So I generally think it was just a 2-3 second damage repair fix that he elected to take. So recycling the food here. Emma Kruger obviously stayed out, pitted under the end of the first stage here. Will line up in pole position, and we are getting up to the choose here at the 1 to go. That's another thing that you may have not known, Kristina, in this regard.
Oh, don't even tell me that there's a choose cone.
There's the choose cone. So drivers will have the right to choose what lane they like to pick. So Emma Kruger will have first choice. If drivers hang close to the inside wall. That's an inside. They'd like to pinch to the outside wall. That is going to be the outside.
Looks like Emma's going to take the outside. You see Fetter Place going to the bottom in the background. We got a few more paints out, finally, Kevin. Oh, we've got a crash!
Oh,
and that is exactly why I think the choose cone is stupid.
What driver hit the
That
wall
was
there?
Tommy Reynolds. He just got hooked because he went to choose and he just got hooked.
Late choice there?
I don't know.
Yeah, he made, I'm looking back here. He made a late choice. Feather Place was already there, and Reynolds went super low. You'll see here on the rewind.
Yeah.
He's like right now. Feather Place already made a decision. Reynolds is waiting. He has to make it for the line, and right there, hard right to make it work.
And he gets
Yeah, and drivers are not happy with Reynolds right now because of that. It was too late of a choice.
I would be happy with race control for having the rule, but you know what? They have been used to this all year, so
This is the first time we've seen an accident on a choose cone, so
it won't be the last, Kevin. I can promise you that.
I mean, if we follow the law of averages, then we're gonna see one more for a season then.
Oh my goodness, that is
Now the
certainly one of the that is one of the caution events of all time.
Was that the trade-off for getting the paints to work for some more drivers? Was we had to
I don't
sacrifice
know.
one for the gods?
Well, I will say I think Fetter Place would prefer we didn't do that because now there's some significant damage. You can see the splitter all bent up on that Toyota Camry.
Yeah, that's gonna definitely, especially being a downforce heavy track, you will have to see how that car handles, and he may have an anchor on that front. So it's gonna be Kruger, Reynolds, Gaiman, Wansing, Feather Place, Michelle, LaJoy, Wright, Leiter, Briley, Wright. Your top 10 here. So
Yeah.
see how it works. Stage ends at lap 40 here, so another 20 laps. The stage number 2 a little shorter because obviously the caution laps. So again, we'll comfortably get through the fuel window here. Tires should also extend. Question is, can Emma Kruger make those slightly older Goodyear tires stretch how far she needs to go? Pace car going to take the hard left, and we are going to get stage 2 underway. Here's Emma Kruger gets a good launch. Tommy Reynolds, not so much.
Yeah, excellent launch from Kruger. Of course, she's in control, so that makes sense. But it's actually going to allow for Gaiman to clear as well now, or at least get close to clearing Tommy Reynolds. How much damage is also to the rear diffuser in that number 7 after getting packed by Fetter Place? Now they're all going to scramble behind. This is the shortest stage of the night. It's only going to end up being 16 laps at speed here with everything cycling out after that first stage. So if you're going to do a tire gamble, now would probably be the time to do it. Kruger out front ahead of Gaiman. I think Kruger, as far back as she was 11th when she pit, so she gets stage points in this. Oh, now,
Reynolds just mowed that down.
Yeah, and he's not going to have any help from anybody, I don't think, trying to get back into the hole, because it seems like he's public enemy number 1 after that choose cone incident. Oh, and he gets into Fetter Place, the same man that he cut off coming across the choose cone. So now they're getting a little bit of beef.
Yeah,
It's
no
what's
love
for dinner.
lost.
And you can see that's Daniel Michelle giving a big old shot to Fetter Place to try and push him by physically. A little bit of tandem drafting down the front straightaway, bump drafted off into turn 1.
Yeah, we'll see what can slot in here for the most part. Michelle going to get a good run here. Reynolds, obviously, past couple weeks has been a bit of an enemy for some. Kind of been in that regard. So Reynolds, obviously, not wanting to go the Ross Chastain route here and make more enemies than friends, especially if you're going for a championship. But at the very least, he's hanging around that outside groove here. Still going to be side by side. Michelle going to get the right launch here, and he's going to clear the 7. You don't see a car hanging that low side to make it work, but back up front, Emma Kruger under attack from Gaiman. Gaiman, B-Tron Racing, strong car past couple weeks, but just has not been the closer, and he's going to take back the lead here. Kruger would still be happy with a P2 at the moment, but just trying to get as many points as she can, because David Wright right now is in the stage points at the moment in P9, which needs to cut into that gap a little bit to make it a little bit more manageable.
Yeah, her main goal right here is to just score points. She's on that strategy. She's got a couple lap older tires, which will make a difference. She's doing a nice job of sitting in there, and of course, with how fast Gaiman is, I think this was something that you could have predicted. I imagine probably some drivers like Wansing and maybe Fetter Place will get around her. But her goal was to get out of 11th place, which so far she's done. So if we get to the end of the stage, she's scored points. That's still going to be a net gain for her. She just needs to keep the car clean. Oh, which is something that Fetter Place will not do. That is a really hard contact for that 34. I would be surprised if there's not damage with that one.
There's probably already a little bit of damage from that incident we saw at the choose cone. We'll see
yeah.
some more damage there at the very least. And McCrew going to lose another spot down the P3, and the train of 4 and 5 are right in her mirrors. Does have a teammate behind, but obviously Fetter Place does have a win. is the points leader. Could be a little bit of a rear gunner if she wants, but obviously 2 different races, 2 different strategies. Another place is going to try to make it as quick.
I think Fetter Place is hot right now. With everything that's going on, he just knocked the wall down. He just had Tommy Reynolds take his front splitter off. I don't think he's thinking too much about teammates right this second. I think he's probably a little bit hot under the collar and trying to make up as much ground as he can and probably put as much distance between him and the 7 as he can.
A little bit check up there from the 7. That's going to allow the 34 to get a run here. Yeah,
Lighter.
that's a big light.
Oh, my goodness. Huge impact.
Machine car. That's still one car. We are staying green, but you can see the front bumper getting down, going to touch the wall one more time.
Yeah, that's more than the front bumper. That's the whole front clip off of that 83 machine. That is probably going to be, they still have that fast repair that they can use, but that's probably terminal damage as far as their
just tow.
Race.
Hopefully he didn't burn that fast repair accidentally on the first pit stop. Luckily he'll get a quick tow here, but at least go 1 down. But right now looking at the field, only car at the moment 1 down. Well, he'll be 1 down, so he can easily get his lap back if he keeps clean at the end of the stage.
I'll tell you what, though, that feels like an eternity when you're under green flag and have to tow. I mean, especially on a track this large, you feel like you have a chance still, but waiting for that tow to finish is just, it takes ages. Very frustrating there, because I don't think he was the first one to go around there. I think there was a little bit of contact that triggered that.
Just went back to take a peek here, and it was simply David Wright kind of went up a little bit too high. And we'll take a look right here. David Wright's that car ahead of him. You can see it was a little bit high up the road and clips it, and nowhere for Lighter to go at that point. He's a passenger going on the inside line.
Such a hard impact, too. See the whole front clip gone. Take one more look at it here. You can see, the Wright's a bit off the line here. And as Wright slides up, he runs out of racing room, bounces off the safer barrier, and just kind of accidentally left rears the 83. And watch this race car get up off the ground. That is a 3,400-pound stock car looking a bit like a Hot Wheels.
And you can see the front clip just sliding a little bit more forward momentum. But back to live action here. You can see a little bit of battle there for P number 6. Michael Joy and Reynolds are fighting there.
Yeah, it's a 4-car breakaway to the leaders. They've all started fighting once again behind. It's allowed those front 4 to get away. And look at this! As they still are scrambling. This is for 5th place. Look who's getting theirself up in there. That's Kevin Feemster, who's starting to sneak in the number 21 machine. So he's looking to make some moves. He's up 13 positions from where he started today.
Biggest gainer along with Brent Roberts up 12. We know Brent Roberts had some pace, just had a bit of a mow down in the heat races. It just shows how crucial these heat races can be to make that work.
Yeah, absolutely. And now down the Long Pond straightaway once again. It's Gaiman, Wanzing, Kruger, Michelle, and Fetter place the top 5. And then all this happening behind them. Tom Sears on back. So there's Fetter Place leading this. So this is 5th place down through, about 10th, I would say, because Briley Wright, but then you've got Bren Roberts. So yeah, through 11th. So this is a big gaggle of cars with 9 to go in the stage this time by. This stage goes off much, much faster than stage 1, given the fact that we had about a quarter of it ran under caution to re-rack after stage 1.
Yep. So it's one that leads to positive stage 2s. If you play a gamble strategy on stage 2, you can make it work. And Emma Kruger holding her own in 3rd. With David Wright having that problem, now down to 15th position because of that big smack. Probably took a little bit of damage off that machine.
Oh, absolutely.
Obviously, let's knock on wood before I get a big knock from the loyal Gear Cat supporters along with Line Power supporters knocking my door before I give her the reverse jinx. But right now, she's doing pretty all right, but still wants to kind of finish the stage out where she is, or at least somewhere close to where she is.
Yeah, she lost that position to Daniel Michelle a minute ago, but actually fought it back out. So despite having a couple lap older tires, she's hanging in there, doing a nice job, taking care of her stuff. And again, she's not trying to win the stage. It'd be great if she could. It would really help her out if she could, but she was 11th place, so this is still working even if she does lose this position as a net gain. And with 7 to go in the stage next time by, even if she does lose this position, which it looks like she might off into turn 1, she has a big gap back there to Fetter Place, and she's ahead of the gaggle, which I think is the biggest thing for her. She wanted to get out of the Hornet's Nest, and she's done a successful job of that now as Daniel Michelle goes around, and Kruger gonna fight it back again. This one's not over between these two.
Plus, it's also a good strategy as well that she'll actually net gain whenever makes pit stops for stage number 2. She'll make that spot work, and she'll actually keep the track position she keeps.
Absolutely.
So it's a net positive, net negative, and she looks like she's going to try to hang on here and make it run.
Good battling.
fight hard here.
I'll tell you what, Kevin, I'm surprised more people didn't do that. Pocono is a big track. It's a bit like Indianapolis as well, where you can make a pit stop and stay on the lead lap. I'm surprised that she's the only one that pulled that strategy off. It works perfectly. You basically get a free pit stop. For more than a free pit stop, your pit stop doesn't matter. Obviously, everybody in the top 10 didn't want to pit because they had stage points, but those drivers that are further back, I'm surprised we didn't see. We saw a couple people, you know, take some strategy calls, but I'm surprised we didn't see other drivers stay out. She was the only one that stayed out of lead lap cars. So
I think it's a risk situation because obviously someone's a little bit slower in the stock car machinery, as you are, Kristina, in that regard. There's an element of if you're a little bit too far in the back, or in that regard, you kind of feel like you're going to be basically just a moving chicane.
But why not? You know,
it's right. It's worth taking a risk, but next thing you know, you end up being the chicane, and you end up getting called to the hauler because you took out 6 cars. And next thing you know, everyone's looking at you like, why you stay out? So it's that element where some drivers, they just want to get to the finish line, maybe watch other drivers chaotically kind of make mistakes and pick it off that way.
Well, the other thing here, I get your point. I get your point, but you only got 2 lap older tires. It's not like you're going to be that much slower. But the other thing about that is you're going to finish 16th anyway. I'd rather try to lead a couple laps and finish 16th and then go to the hauler than just ride 16th all day long.
There's no try in that element, and I think it's a risky situation. I think different drivers have different ideologies, but yeah, it's worth trying at least once.
Absolutely.
But I think some drivers may have been bit by the bad luck bug, or when they do officials, they've seen that happen and ends up in tears for them or someone else. They're just like, maybe a bit of PTSD elements in that front. Like, let's not try this again. And well, obviously, with some other big tracks, we may see that opportunity to come back one more time for the season, especially at road courses. But right now, we'll stay on the warpath here. But back up front, it's game into Wanzing. Wanzing slowly reeling in that 61. And Wanzing trying to win a stage here, hasn't won a stage in a long time. And that Sunday Money Racing machine is looking to try to get to that front.
Yeah, it's a shame a blizzard hit the racetrack and covered these cars up with snow. We've been trying since the start of the broadcast to get these paints to load in, but trading paints, not our friend. But at least the racing on track is good.
What a shame those August, late July blizzards. I didn't know we were. It's such a weird phenomenon. I think we have to check that out, put some research money to that one.
Well, you know, it's that Pennsylvania Midwest weather. You never know what's going to happen.
You never know. It's a coin flip. Like one day it's just like, it'll fall down to 32 and start snowing.
Yeah.
But regardless, up the front here, Wanzing going to try to make a move here, and he's going to be right there at the corner panel. And he's just going to be challenging here. Right now, looking at the constructors, Sunday Monday Racing leads the constructors, so at least that's a consolation prize for that 9. But obviously, he wants to be up front, as obviously Reynolds has been carrying the show for said team. But up front here, Wanzing going to try to chump down here. Going to think better of it, does not want to tow back. But luckily, with such a big gap down to 3rd, he kind of just ride his line.
Yeah, he's got time. I think he's trying to size himself up, try and make a move with 1 or 2 laps to go. We're still coming to 3 to go this time by. There's still a little bit of time. And you also, the other thing, you don't necessarily want to show your hand yet. You don't want to make the move on the guy that you'd make for the win of the race, because then they're going to be ready to cover that off. You want to try and keep them guessing. You never want to show your ace already, as we're only coming to halfway in the event. So the one nice thing about these unloaded paint schemes, look at how dirty that 9 car is. The rubber buildup absolutely starting to show, and you can see maybe struggling a little bit with the tires. This should be the easiest phase of the race to get through, the least amount of tire wear. So the interesting thing to look at is if cars start fading now, that's going to show you who can't maintain their tires, and that's going to give a lot of issues coming to the tail end of this race.
Good test rider Jack Mulkey actually just took a pit stop there, so Mulkey going to try to do a similar strategy to Emma Kruger as he lead the pit lane. Went down, so I think he may have went 1 down in the process. But a lot of these been in the position to get the lap back. But speaking of Emma Kruger right now, she has fallen into the 2nd gaggle here with a couple laps to go. That's not going to affect this top battle here at the moment. 4 seconds away from that gaggle. Wanzing just going to ride his line here. Just going to maybe push, maybe press X to intimidate to get around here. We'll cut now, Kruger. And you can see right there in the regard, it's LaJoy, then is Feather Plays, and then Tom Sears in the Shark Week. 3 Lion Power Motorsports powered machines, with 1 black-ass machine right in the middle there trying to get around said machine.
And have you ever wondered why they call him Lurkin' Tom? We haven't talked about him all day pretty much, and now he's sitting right up here in the top 5 with a good opportunity to score some serious points, which he needs here in that number 14 machine. So he's sitting right there waiting in the wings, stalking his prey now. As you see, it looks like LaJoy going to try and make a move on Kruger, and up front we got a battle for second, or excuse me, for third. It's not a lapped car now. I think that might be the lapped car.
Oh, Steers just had a slight mistake there, but I think that is Mulkey. I will confirm that is Mulkey right behind Michelle right there for third, so that is not for position.
Dealing with some lap traffic there, but yeah, Sears does a nice job to hang on to it, and now the opportunity for LaJoy on Kruger through the tunnel turn. Kruger going to get really high, wide, holds on to it, but now that's going to be 3 wide down into the third turn.
Yeah, Mike LaJoy, another driver that's on that bubble that needs a win to get in, and with being like starting at the first half, like after the first 12 races came in, he's in a must-win situation, and this seems like a track he can get the job done. So we'll ride on board with Emma Kruger as we start the white flag lap. Right now, it's still up front. It's Gaiman and Wanzing. One driver going to take the stage win here. How bad does Seth Wanzing want this to get it?
How bad does he want it? How much does he want to reveal? Because this could very well be the same battle for the win later on tonight. So you got to play it patient here. Got to be smart.
What's worth more, 10 stage points or the trophy and the check?
It depends. Do you trust that you're going to get to the end of this race, or do you think you need to get that put down now? Wanzing not really close enough to make a move, so I think the answer is going to show itself now, whether he wants it or not. Gaiman looking like he's going to sweep the stages. Oh, but Wanzing's going to throw it in really deep and try and make a last-second move. If that was the last lap, I don't think he would have lifted, Kevin.
No, that would have been a saving grace. Gaiman going to come home here. Going to win stage number 2. Emma Krug going to hang on to 6, but we'll run it down real fast here. Gaiman, Wanzing, Michelle, LaJoy, Featherplace, Kruger, Roberts, Sears, Wright, and Tommy Reynolds. Obviously had that juice coincidence right now. Is currently in 10th position. He'll lock up the last stage point. And now we are on the way to getting the next 40 laps to finish this out.
Yeah, shout out to Bren Roberts. 16 positions up, a little bit of strategy, a little bit of good racing. Up in a 7th place, scoring some stage points. And yeah, as you mentioned, Emma Kruger holds on to 6, so a net gain. Because like you mentioned, now that she's lasted to the end of the stage, they're all going to pit again. And I don't think anybody on the lead lap made that option to pit. So what this does now, except for maybe Mulkey, but I think I don't know if he got around Gaiman and Wanzing. So he'll get the lucky dog, but he'll end up being at the tail end anyway, so that won't work out quite for him. But Kruger's going to hold on to that 6th position. She's going to go from 11th to 6th and stay there because everyone's going to come down and pit again. So this worked out a treat for her.
So it's actually been a net gain, like you said. It's going to work out quite nice now up to the virtual cruise again to keep her up in that 6th position.
So with Gaiman sweeping both stages, it's a great effort for him and that team. Gaiman really looking like he's on for a good run tonight, which we know Gaiman, he's very hot or he's very cold. There's not much in between for that 61 machine. So good to see him having a good run. He sweeps both stages. That's going to help him out a lot. Of course, he already has 2 wins to boot, but he's going to get a couple playoff points to go in his back pocket headed into the chase. And pit lane should be open this time around, and we'll see how it cycles out. He won the battle off pit road first time around and has not really had much trouble getting back to the lead there. The only one who's really been able to challenge him has been Seth Wanzing, so it's going to be between those two to see what happens. Good little, good little classic little Pocono race here to start things out, don't you think?
Yeah, no, it's been very quintessential Pocono, which some people love, some people hate about this track. But regardless, pit stops are going to happen here, and obviously we're going to have one more stop for the end of this race, as no driver should be able to make it to the end without the tires kicking and screaming along the way. So all cars going to presumably come in here. Mulkey obviously probably going to stay out. Looks like one car, obviously, has Mulkey staying out to get the way around Mulkey dog situation. But anyway, let's see what the crews can do.
Yeah, we're on board right now with Gaiman. Wanzing all up the gearbox there of that 61 machine. You see the lappers on the left-hand side, and this is how chaotic pit road is. You can see, I'm surprised we don't have more issues on this pit road. We seem to have been pretty well maintained. This is on board now with the helmet cam game, and you can see them jacking up the right side of that car, changing those tires. Back to the single lug now, getting rid of the 5 lug nuts that we've had for decades in NASCAR. And you can see him, listen to that car as he's revving it up. He's anxious and ready to go, and he's going to beat everybody out of pit lane, and he will remain the leader in that 61. So a nice clean stop. keep that Ford Mustang out front.
You are correct. Michelle going to jump a spot on Wanzing, so gain spot for him further down, looking up and down. LaJoy able to keep fourth. Roberts, Sears, Featherplace had a bit of a slow stop, obviously maybe to fix some of that damage with Tommy Reynolds' situation. Reynolds goes up a spot as well, so some jostling, but for the most part, field kind of stays, that top 10 stays pretty much the same top 10. No one throwing a curveball to take 2 tires, or maybe not fill it up all the way, or try something different.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're on a cutaway screen for just a moment because trying to see if we can't do a last gasp effort to try and fix those issues we're having for whatever reason with some of these drivers and their paint schemes. Trading paint's not being our friend tonight. But just to give you a quick little recap, it has been Josh Gaiman leading and winning both stages in today's race so far. Worth noting, Matthew Leiter, one of the cars staying out to get one of his laps back on the wave around. That would make sense after that violent crash down the back straightaway.
Yeah, that was probably the car in actually, yeah, he'll stay out along with Edward Marshall as well to get a lap back as well. Edward Marshall a few more down. So as we are watching, hope we can get that trade paint fixed up. We're seeing the choose code in effect here. And I'll report that Gaiman goes low, Michelle gonna go, Gaiman goes high, Michelle gonna go low, and that will be the front row.
And thankfully, no crashes this time around. They've figured it out.
Everything was clean. We got Wanzing LaJoy row 2, Robert Sears row 3, Kruger Featherplace row 4, Roberts Kruger row 4, I should say. Featherplace Reynolds row. Yeah, I'm confusing my numbers here. 3 is Roberts Kruger, 4 is Featherplace Withers, 5 is Reynolds and Featherplace. Some combination of that top 10 for the most part, as they're still cycling in. But some drivers gained up, but most of them went 1-2, 1-2, 1-2 with no major changes to report.
So with that in mind, they'll be lining up Gaiman, Michelle, Wanzing, LaJoy, Robert, Sears, Kruger, Featherplace, Reynolds, Withers, then Matthew Kent, Riggs, Kerr, Feemster, David Wright, Ryan Pinnell, Markowski, Overstadt, George, Mulkey, Wright, Ray, Leiter, and then Edward Marshall 3 laps down, and I think Austin Purnell has brought it behind the wall because he appears to be 26 laps down.
Yep, he still says he is in the racing circuit right now, but he is not on the pit lane or anything, so he is somewhere in the realm between here and the shadow, but we cannot find him right now. But at the very least, he is basically out of this race anyway.
So, with that in mind, try and bring back some pictures here.
There we go.
We have some more paint schemes, at least it looks like. Finally, the issue
I think it's
solved.
everyone.
So, yeah, it looks like we got at least everybody. I'm not sure. You might have seen my own car there on the field. I think me joining the track helped, but here we go. Pace car's off, and we're back underway here for the final stage at Pocono. The 61, who we can finally see of Josh Gaiman, leads us down, and we're underway.
It's not much of a paint scheme change from as he's run that same scheme for the most weeks and weeks out here. So, but it's good to see it at least again, as he will now get to thank 23 Simrare Racing and let them kind of show off here at the moment. Steph Wanzing going to take second there, slot inside. Michelle going to take third as the jostle position. And Ren Roberts, Michelle hit that wall, mowed it down. And I was going to say it was going to be Roberts slotting fourth. Now Roberts could get a chance to go for third.
Yeah, they just about are going to get away with that. I was surprised nobody bounced off the wall and we didn't have another situation like what we saw with Matthew Leiter, but can they make it through the tunnel turn? That's going to be the tricky one here as they come out of there. It seems like we will get through nice and easy. This could be the last restart of the race, Kevin, so they all need to be weary of that and be careful. Look at this gaggle back here as they all try to sort it out amongst themselves.
Yeah, there's Emma Kruger right there battling her teammate in regard for Lion Power. Tommy Reynolds there, 5-win Tommy, trying to find a way to make it 6, but right now sitting in 9th position. A little bit of bad blood between him and the 34, so you know that 34 ain't going to let him by any easily. He's going to make it as hard as Ryan Newman would during his Cup career in question.
And SRX in that matter.
Yeah, going to make that car wide.
And,
nice blimp shot there. That's Mike LaJoy, I believe.
Yeah, that's LaJoy that got a bit out of shape. Nice save there. But yeah, you can see the whole field pretty much down that long pond straightaway. And look at this 3-wide battle back here now as well for position, as that's the 23 of Tommy Withers jumping out of it. Feemster and Kent side by side now out of the tunnel turn. They are really going at it. This is the final stage. That's Feemster on the outside in the number 21, and David Wright on the inside. Matthew Kent just a touch ahead of that in that green number 2. And look at Feemster crossing back over, trying to get those elbows out in that number 21 machine.
Yes. This Feemster, another driver that obviously finished second in Atlanta, another driver that needs a win. He's currently, I believe, above the line. But in this regard, he does need to kind of be wary because obviously as that line shrinks up, he could be the next one. He's currently ahead of David Wright for the last driver in. So if that line shrinks up, right now looking, Seth Wansing, he's above the line. If he wins, he's not really much of a concern. But you never know if Emma Kruger pulls one out. Michael Joy, Cody Riggs currently rocking with the top 10. Could easily put Kevin Feemster in a spot where he can't pull his way in at anymore.
Yeah, they're kind of, you know, if you're those drivers that haven't got a win yet, you don't want another new winner unless it's you, because then it takes a whole nother slot out of the chase. We talked about that at the top of the show. So everybody's kind of rooting on Josh Gaiman right now because he's already got a couple wins. Or
at the very least, they're hoping because Seth Wansing currently is the first driver in without a win.
So he would be okay in that sense.
It wouldn't change nothing.
Yeah. Unless you're Austin Purnell, who is pretty much out of this race, and you're thinking, I don't want to lose another position. I would really like to get back and battle Wansing for that. But yeah, every spot counts. And we're getting to that point where it is all that you're going to hear about in these next few weeks with Carmen and Kevin in the booth. I'm right. I get to come in right at the cusp of it being the main storyline. So. But yeah, it really is. It's something here because you got to look at Seth Wansing, who has not won yet this season. He's putting on an incredible effort, and this kind of shows why he's the first driver that hasn't won who's in on points. He's running up front right now. He's been putting on a heck of a show, putting the pressure on a Josh Gaiman and trying to rattle his cage a little bit.
And the Sunday Monday Series, he's been the driver. Not Sunday Monday Series, that's the team name in question. But in this Sunday Series, I should say, he is a driver that has made the playoffs every attempt so far he has been in. He's a strong driver. That's why, obviously, when it came down with points based on team constructors, he was able to get one of those teams. He's a strong driver, and right now he's kind of been, I wouldn't say the weakest link of that team, but he's been a driver that's been a little bit underwhelming for Sunday Monday Racing with them leading the constructors. He's gotten good points, but with some disconnections and bad finishes, he's kind of looking to maybe get that monkey off the back, trying to set the tides different directions to set himself up nicely with 5 weeks to go. That he doesn't have to really worry. He can focus on getting that car focused up for the playoffs. Get that mindset for championship glory rather than worrying about getting above the line. And right
here's
now,
what I'll tell you. Here's what I'll tell you too. He's far enough ahead of the cut line here with his little races left. He just needs to keep doing what he's doing. If he the wins will come. Right?
Yes.
He either wins or he points his way in. He's one of the few drivers that hasn't won that doesn't need to sweat it because he's done so well this season. That's one of the things he's got working for him. Unless we're getting to the point where even if we did have a different winner every single week, he would still be the one to get in on points. So he would love to win here, don't get me wrong, but if he doesn't, this is an incredibly solid points day, and it only adds to the comfort that he's going to have leaving this race and going as the clock ticks down. He's not quite in a situation like Emma Kruger or one of those drivers out of the...
That is true, but at the same time, when you look at the drivers around him on his team, you got Brian Roberts, already has a win. He won at Nashville, I should say. Daniel Michelle, 2 wins so far this season, currently right behind him in that regard. He's supposed to be the team boss. He's supposed to be the one that leads the troops, kind of the guy that brings it in. And he feels like that's kind of taking a sweat on him a little bit, knowing that the cars around you. Cody Pinnell was quite strong before he had that incident we couldn't run full-time anymore. Donald Ray has been quite strong before with Presidential Racing for obviously comeback race here, but he's quite strong as well. So in that element, he kind of, even though he's been doing well, it's not up to Sunday Money Racing standards, he feels like. And that, I feel like, is putting a little bit of pressure on him as well, as his 2 teammates are 3rd and 4th right now.
He needs to not let that get to him, though. He needs to put his head down, and he needs to just focus on what he's doing. I think if he comes to the chase and he gets eliminated round 1, then yeah, you can say, I didn't do good enough this year. But we've seen situations before where you really you don't need to really perform until the chase comes around. You look at Tony Stewart 2011, situations like that, or like a Kyle Larson run to the championship. You don't really need to be good in the regular season. That's what this format allows. You can be mediocre throughout the early part of the season. You only need to show up for those final 10 races.
Correct. That's what the system rewards. If you can, and even then, you only need to show up at 3.
Yeah.
Both elimination,
all the cut races,
all the cut races, and then Phoenix. So pick your poison at the moment.
You can be dismal all year long, and as long as you outpoint the other people and they're a little more dismal than you, you only need to win 1 race. And even then, you don't need to win that last race. We've seen people win the championship before without winning any races. He's doing a perfectly fine job, and he's in the chase right now. I think I would be a lot more... I can understand why he's upset that he hasn't got wins, but he's running up front right now. And he's in that situation where sometimes it just doesn't happen for you this season. If he was outside of the top 20 in points, yeah, I would really be worrying about that. But he's cruising along, he's doing his thing, and that's all that really matters right now.
Yeah, a little further back, we do got a battle here forming up as we got Sears and Reynolds fighting with Feather Place as well. Bit of a line power battle for 6th, 7th, 8th. As there's Tommy Reynolds, got around Feather Place.
That's a gaggle and a half, isn't it? On board here with Feather Place as he's trying to size up Lurkin Tom, who's moved into the 7th position. Tommy Reynolds just ahead, as you mentioned. Look at how loose Feather Place gets out of the corner. I wonder if there's still a little bit of damage on that 34 machine from the incident with Tommy Reynolds earlier. No love lost between those two.
Lurkin Tom lurking like a shark. I'm Shark Week. You hear the music. Probably got jaws when he goes for passes. But anyway,
he's gonna need a bigger boat if he's gonna get into the top 5, though. I have a feeling.
Yeah, he's gonna need some kind of strategy here at the moment. Good at the short tracks. He's good at the plate races. These 2-point-mile tracks not as his strong suit, but still holding down the fort nice, currently in 7th and helping line power because they're second to the constructors, trying to get that door closer to try to chase down Sunday Money Racing.
A little bit of contact you heard on the onboard there, just a touch to the wall from Brandon Feather Place. The thing about Tom that never ceases to amaze me is how clinical he is. He may not be the fastest guy on track, and he may be losing a position here to Feather Place, but every single time Tom Sears comes on that, I don't think anybody has ever been angry at Tom Sears. I think you'd have to go very far back to find that. And he already has a win, too, so he's cruising. He's trying to gather as many points as he can. He wanted Atlanta, having a good old time, and that's the thing about him. He'll show up when it matters. Of course, he's had excellent performances, the runner-up in the Champ Car World Series over on the ABN side of things, so no stranger to our broadcasts.
Gave you quite a fight there for that World Championship. I know that.
Yes, we
did.
I
was watching that one.
We both had the pleasure to race with him as well, and he is one of the nicest guys in the entire paddock. It doesn't matter what is. We got a little contact behind him, and it seems like the trouble has to find him. He never really makes it himself.
You want a good battle? I've been watching this for the past lap here. Kruger and Roberts. Kruger is trying whatever she can to get the 4th position here. And I can see her. You'll see down the straight here. She is trying everything. She's going as low as she needs to. She is following that one to the pits of the depths to try to get around it and get a run to clear that one.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, they're almost down there to the pit lane. It's a good thing they put that wall there, else I think Brent Roberts would drive down into it without thinking about it. They are really fighting this one out here down into turn number 1. You can see those 3 cars ahead. The battle for the lead really isn't too far apart either. Is he gonna run up right on the back? I think she might give a little bit of a push here. Let's see if we can ride on board with the nose. Yeah, I love this camera angle, Kevin. You can see the sparks bouncing off of it too. Tucked right up inside the radiator of that number 70 Toyota Camry, the highest running Toyota, it must be noted as well. Tom Sears and Brandon Feather Place 8th and 7th respectively, a little bit further behind Kruger, but she's carrying the flag right now for the double ovals.
It's the Ford, it's the Ford for B-Tron, and then it's 3 bow ties for Sunday Money Racing, and then you got the Toyota of obviously with the 3 circles for line power, and then you got Tommy Reynolds right behind there. Only drivers for Bandit in the top 10.
Oh,
and
Sears, I think just might have had a mistake because he's dropped down to 10th this time around, so we might have to take a look at that later. But yeah, you know, the other thing I noticed here, the body language of these drivers. Emma Kruger tired of following the one of Brent Roberts all the way down to the line. She is not moving anymore. She's just running her lane and letting Brent Roberts kind of wiggle around the track and get his sillies out. But that's kind of the thing you got to weigh up. Do you want to take the draft or not?
Yeah, it's risky, and the draft helps you get the toe and it sets you up. But right now, at the same point, if you don't feel like you're making the pass, there's no point in falling off the cliff if you think you can kind of hold on and get close. You see here, Tom Sears, what happened with him is him and David Wright were fighting hard, and David Wright kind of pushed up just a little bit up the racing surface, clean, but a little touchy touch, and Sears got railroaded on the outside, and has now lost 2 spots to both the 88 Michael Joy and the 2 of Matthew Pence. And now, as we'll actually take a look at it here, coming through turn 3 here.
Yeah, just a bit wide, and he didn't hit anything from what I can tell. It just looks like he just lost a lot of momentum up there.
Next corner is where you're going to see what I saw. As you can see, coming into 3 here. 42 going to go deep, and then they're just going to get a little bit close here, and
just a touch. It looks like the 42 outran himself just a little bit, and Sears We mentioned not really the man to start trouble. It just tends to find him, and he did a good job not ending up in the wall there. Good job by the 42 to keep it off and not make that a larger issue than it needed to be, and everyone kind of just freight trained him. He ran out of momentum, which is oh so important in these cars.
And now he'll have to slot back in 11th here and try to find more momentum. Another driver, as I'm looking through the field, another driver we haven't said really anything of, but having kind of a solid day at the very least for coming in. Dale Malkowski here, who's currently in 14th, up 4 spots for a gain, but is doing a solid day here as a debutant, or at least not many races here. It's a part-time schedule. Bringing home a nice car here in the 48, doing what he needs to do to kind of get that car competitively in the top 15 here.
Yeah, he's right there behind James Kerr, trying to fight with Feemster and Sears. LaJoy, he's in that group. Not bad at all. Up 4 positions.
Trying to cut up, but battle for the lead here. They caught lap traffic with Edward Marshall. Yeah. Seems just up the road, and now Seth Wansing had a run here. Marshall not laying way here. He's got no real allegiance to anyone in this pack. It's 3 Sunday Money Racing cars and then Gaiman and Beatron. He's just fighting to stay on the lead lap, and he's not even on the lead lap.
He's 3 laps down, yeah. So interesting to see him fight this one out, but is creating some spicy content here. We saw Gaiman dive him into turn 1 last time around. Going to try it again. And then the number 9.
Oh, he's going to pull him. Yeah. He's going to push him out of the way. Like, you're not, knowing the bad luck he's had, he is not waiting around to find out what that Kristina will do.
He tried it clean the last time around and got fought for it. So I think at that point, you kind of got to get your elbows out and say, listen, you're 3 laps down, move or be moved. I don't blame the 61 car at all. And you can see how quickly Seth Wansing filled that hole, too. As soon as he saw Gaiman push him out of the way, he said, all right, I got to go. So.
Yeah.
16
now it's
car
up to Michelle.
Now finds 4 laps down.
Yep. He's just trying to get a lap. If a quick caution came out, obviously would say 3. You could get the lucky dog, maybe make him 2. But yeah, I get the reason to fight, but not going to win any love loss by doing that. Now Michelle going to get round here as you're coming to 21 to go here.
Yeah, the pit window is open now.
Yep. Again, all cars are really going to have to pit here a little bit further in the distance. You see Brent Roberts trying to break the toe there, almost like ants on a screen here. But you can just right now, everyone just playing the strategies here. Everyone has to make that pit stop. I see no one stretching it unless they have that extra fuel tank that we don't know about to make this work.
Looking back on that battle between Tommy Reynolds, Bren Roberts, Emma Kruger, and Brandon Fetterplace now. Could see Bren Roberts still wiggling all about the track. You mentioned Eddie. Oh, that's one of the risks you run. He smacks the wall out of turn 2. Maybe he couldn't get back in line, couldn't get to his line that he wanted to, and he's gonna find the hard way that maybe sometimes just running the lane is better. It's gonna keep that car moving. I'm surprised how durable these cars are with how weak they tend to be in real life. Seth Wansing in. This is a critical opportunity. He's gonna try to undercut Josh Gaiman. And with how big this track is, Gaiman's gonna need to respond now.
Yeah, I don't hate the call. Ones, we know the undercut is potent enough. He'll have some track position. Obviously won't go a lap down in that regard. The only real bad strategy will happen is if a caution comes out right now, and even then he'll cycle to the lead. So there's no diss strategy really for going in the undercut, and I feel like he's got a challenge. Michelle obviously just blinked in. He's coming in this time by as well. He has thrown the call up. So Michelle coming in. Gaiman in. Gaiman's coming in. So
Gaiman needs to pit. He needs to cover this off because he's fast enough to beat Wansing outright on the track. But Wansing, if he gets the lead, that puts us into a scenario we have not seen yet today. So Gaiman needs to cover this off now, especially with the lead he has. He needs to be careful not to speed.
Yep.
And you heard it on the radio there. The leader's coming into the pits. Here comes Michelle. Kruger's in. Wright's in as well. David Wright, I should say. Matthew Kent is in. Here comes a whole bunch of them. And that's why you see on the track map.
Yeah, some will stay out, hoping for a caution, hoping for something here. Then maybe cycle around here and get some luck here. Have fresher tires at the end. But right now, Wansing's up for game. It's a 53-second pit stop delta here at the very least. 55, 53, obviously with slowdowns. So we'll see how it all plays out here. Wansing going into turn number 3 right now. Keeping an eye on that 61.
Yeah, we're on board right now with Seth Wansing. You'll look to
He's
your
leaving
left-hand
the box.
side. This is going to be pretty close.
Cross the line. He is already out. He is speeding on down the 1 here. Keep an eye on the track map. It looks like it's going to be Gaiman, but we'll see him try to get up the speed here.
But look right there.
Yep, through 1. It's going to close.
He lost a lot of time. Wansing not pulling that undercut much as I thought as he would have. So a good cover there by everybody else trying to cover off Wansing. I wonder if Wansing had issues. Meanwhile, honestly, Reynolds, Fetterplace, LaJoy, Markowski, and Feemster in.
Here's your thing, 50.5 50-50 pit delta for Josh Gaiman, 51-48 for Seth Wanzing. So that's about a second loss on the track, and that is going to be probably the ill effect you see here.
Boy, I know
right
something
there.
about a second in the pit lane adding up to about 10 on the racetrack. That's going to be so frustrating for Seth Wanzing. He's going to be absolutely livid with that. But here's the other thing. Daniel Michel actually comes out ahead of Gaiman. So Gaiman not the leader even on the cycle out right now. So that's interesting. And we got more cars coming out of the pit lane to mix in with this, so we'll see how this all sorts out. But right now, it looks to me.
Oh, I think Michel took 2 tires because he had an 11.05. He did not. Either he underfilled it or he took 2 tires. So
no,
that is why.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. If you take 2 tires, that's what he did. Even if you took full fuel, I don't imagine. If you take 4 tires, it's going to take longer than 11 seconds. So they might have packed that car full of fuel still with how, because they also have the shorter fuel tanks, of course. So they could do a 2-tire change and do that. So I like that strategy call. Why not pull it off here with how important track position has seemed to be? And we see here Josh Gaiman getting hung up on Matthew Leiter, trying to get around that 83 car who is trying to recover ever since that massive crash down through the short chute earlier.
Oh, yeah, a little tap there from the 83 there, Leiter. It's going to allow 61 to get a run here on that inside. We'll see if he can clear into 1, but at least the positive is that at the moment, if Gaiman catches Michel, it's going to be a Sunday Money Racing sandwich. You know for a fact that the 23 is not going to make anything easy for that 61 to even get remotely close around, and that could back it up in the Wanzing if he's lucky. So Gaiman's going to have to be aggressive to try to make that move quick on that 23 if he wants to take back this lead and make it 3 on the season. 2 drivers right now, 1-2 when this all cycles through, looking to make it 3 on the season.
Absolutely. And how about James Kerr? He hasn't made a pit stop yet, but the Black Acid Racing 75 machine. He's got 1 win last year at Fontana. Back out front once again, even if it is for a little bit. Credit where credit's due. One of those drivers from OAP as well. We saw him in the IROC series, little OAP machines. Had some good fun racing with him the last few weeks in that. Out front right now, as well as Ryan Pinnell, who's right behind Donald Ray. A lot of the ARCS boys in that OAP group all running up front here tonight. And they still have a pit stop to go, obviously, but currently it is Kerr, Pinnell, and Ray. So they get a little bit of TV time, a little bit of upfront time. Trying to get some more TV time on these drivers now that their paint scheme's loaded in. Kerr is in, as is Ray. Pinnell stays out in the number 12, as well as Briley Wright. Jack Mulkey stays out as well, and he will inherit 3rd. Elridge George will move up to 4th, and then it'll be Daniel Michel in 5th. So 4 cars yet to pit: Pinnell, Wright, Mulkey, George.
Yep, obviously all pitted on 42. 1 for Mulkey. He came in second time around on the second lap. He pitted on 43, but that's obviously you're not making to the end here. Pinnell coming in this time by, along with probably Wright and Wright in as well. Alpha Church probably going to follow suit. Mulkey maced out 1 more. We'll have to see how it all cycles out. Actually, Mulkey in as well. So you have everyone going to come in. It's going to inherit the lead to Daniel Michel. And it's going to be Michel, Gaiman, Wanzing, Roberts, your top 4. It's going to be interesting to see how it all cycles out here. But Gaiman trying to hunt down that 25, trying to prove why track position maybe matters more at Pocono than tires. And Seth Wanzing looking to get that first win of the season.
So it's Mulkey George coming in now, which will hand that lead off, and it's going to be how long can Daniel Michel hold on with those 2 tires, which I'm surprised, Kevin, that it is not already a decided factor. I'm surprised that he is hanging on as well as he is over Gaiman.
I think we saw with Kruger, she was able to hold on quite well with a slight tire disadvantage, and obviously those right sides.
But those were still 4 tires on that
True.
70 car. It was only 2 left holders.
You are correct. And those left side, honestly, I feel like maybe he doesn't burn the lefts as much as he needs to. It's a bit baffling, but I feel like looking at times, 53.79 last time by for Michel, 53.53 flat for Joshua Gaiman, 53.74 for Wanzing. So he's running similar times to his other Sunday Money Racing counterparts, but obviously 2 temps down on Gaiman. So he's making those right sides work. Presumably that's what he took. He's making them work.
Absolutely. He needs to be careful, Gaiman does, to not overdo it here. He should be able to reel in Michel. He needs to be careful not to burn all his stuff up doing it, though, because Wanzing's not too far off either. He's only 3 seconds behind this lot. And imagine if Wanzing had a little bit better pit stop. He would have been right there with him. So And keep in mind, you also need to save some stuff in case we get a caution, because you may not want to pit if there's only a couple laps to go.
What's other interesting to notice while looking at things, Brent Roberts also followed suit on the same strategy. He went with a 9.78 second stop as well.
That's got him up to 4th place.
Yeah. So 2 cars, weird that did not follow suit the Sunday Monday race team. And right now, Roberts is under pressure from pressuring Wanzing. So it's very interesting to see here on that regard that maybe the 2-tire strategy was the right call, and it's weird that Wanzing maybe didn't follow suit what his teammates did.
Yeah, and look at this gaggle here as they're about to come up on Matthew Leiter. You've got Seth Wanzing out front, and then Brent Roberts, you said, took 2 tires up 19 positions from where he started this race. You got Fetter Place behind. That's a lapped car. No, actually. Yeah, that is a lapped car, the 21 machine. Of Kevin Feemster. So that's not for position, but he's going to give a big old shove to that one of Brent Roberts and try and get him up and around Wanzing. And now they're going to be side by side because guess what? The 21 is fighting with Leiter. So 2 different battles for position going on right here. The 2 cars in the back.
Because right now we got a pass for the lead here. Gaiman's got the run off the corner 1 here, and he's going to have the suit down the straight.
They're going to side draft.
Yeah, he's going to try to push him low, try to maybe make him lose that run, but there, 61 going to clear. Now Michelle, he's got probably 1 corner to try to get back around, and if he can't do it, this may be smooth sailing for said 61.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's quite worth it for Michelle to send it in here right now. Maybe try and see if he can force Gaiman to burn up some of his stuff, but with that 2-tire call, that is the strategy right here. It's already a bit over. Look how much he's fighting that wheel, too, how loose that machine is. He just about kisses the wall. It's right on board here. Let's listen to how much he's lifting through turn 1 here as well. Let's see. Let's listen for the throttle because it looks like it's loose. He's driving the wheels off of it, I can tell you that for sure. It's actually not as bad through turn 1. It seems like maybe turn 3 is where it gets loose. Let's see if it gets light here in turn 2 as well because there's less banking here. He's not losing, Gaiman, is he?
No, he's holding on. That draft's helping him.
I think it is too, because with how loose he seems to have been, I think maybe taking the air off that nose. Look at the hands there. I think the air being off the nose is helping to stabilize that car a little bit, give him a little bit more to run with. This is far from over. It's going to be tough for him to get back around Gaiman, especially with how dominant Gaiman's been on a fair fight. Now he has an advantage, but I'll tell you what, for Michelle, he's ahead of Wanzing now and looking like a real stout competitor here for P2. Look, oh, he gets loose there through turn 1 that time, has to jump out of it to keep it out of the wall. He's definitely fighting that machine, but look at the distance back now to Seth Wanzing. I think overall this is still a net gain for him.
Yeah, it's a net gain regardless. You can hear a little wall tap there as you see battle for 3 here. Roberts just pushing Seth Wanzing.
Yeah, I think Roberts is doing a better job right now on those 2 tires than Michelle is, but Michelle doing an admirable job. I think Wanzing kind of had the wind taken out of his sails there. I think he really thought he had something there with that undercut, and it was a bit, I think he's a bit frustrated it didn't quite work out for him. Meanwhile, Kruger and LaJoy fighting over 8th position right now, and I think that's going to open the door for Matthew Kent to try and get his hands dirty as well. So we look back to Wanzing. Let's see here. Is Roberts going to get to the gearbox again? Gets right up there, gonna back off a little early, let Wanzing drive in. He backed up way more than Seth Wanzing did. Wanzing driving it really hard. You can hear the tires squealing a little bit as he abuses those Goodyear Eagles. Time ticking away. 9 laps to go. This race has clicked off incredibly quick in a race that has had no cautions other than the stage breaks and only 2 incidents on track.
Yeah, 1 for Edward Marshall and 1 for Matthew Leiter, and both were single car incidents, so no cautions were called. You got 3 battles forming here. Obviously, I also had 1 for the another one during a caution, but that's unrelated for stage. But anyway, why you do not like choose cones in any choice.
Correct.
But regardless, we got Gaiman and Michelle fighting for the lead. You got Wanzing Roberts fighting for 2nd, and then one more battle to keep a nose on. We got Wright and Kruger. Right now, Wright's got the advantage for 7th, and why does this matter? Because this is the battle for the cut line. Right now, Kruger has a net gain, maybe 2 points, and if she can get the spot, well, throughout this race today, and if she can get the spot in this 42, that's going to go out another 2 points, and the gap coming in tonight was 10, and it looks like Kruger going to try to make the move here. Can she clear the 42?
She has, but you saw a little bit of smoke there. She nearly gets turned. They make some contact. They do hit each other here.
And that's going to open the door for Mike LaJoy. And that's going to be 2 spots lost for Kruger.
Yeah.
So she was looking good, and now she has fallen just to the top 10.
The question is now, how much damage is there on that car, if any? It wasn't a super hard hit to the wall, but she's absolutely struggling with that right rear. She has to make those moves, even if they don't work. She needs to get desperate and make those moves. I think maybe it was a good move. I think she just lost it a little because she was pushing so hard to try and clear David Wright. But just as easily as that happened, David Wright can make that mistake too. She has hit the wall. But you know, we almost saw, who was that there? Was it Kent that almost hit the wall too? They're all struggling, and we saw Michelle too. I think they are pushing very hard in the closing stages here. Look how hard Mike LaJoy can drive that 88 machine down into the corner, but look how tight it's gonna get off the corner.
Oh, Kruger just hit the wall again. Big lick. Actually, it wasn't Kruger. Sorry, my mistake. That was someone else.
Yeah, I think Kruger got close. I think they all got away with that one there. But right now, that's exactly what David Wright needed, because I think he was struggling just a touch with the right front. Oh, Kruger might hit the wall there. She gets out of it. She looks like she's struggling a lot with the right front now. I think the tires in general are just going off. I think she used up all of her stuff there to try and get around the 42. That was her shot.
Back up to the front here, though. You can see still Michelle is hanging tough, and they are going to catch a lap down car here. Matthew Leiter. He's
Who did not get out of the way too easily earlier.
Yeah, so that's going to be a challenge here for Gaiman. Gaiman, how aggressive does he need to fight around? Because if he hangs around a little bit too long, it could easily open the door for Michelle, maybe have one more chance to send something.
I think the issue is Michelle is so poor through turn 1. He does really well through turn 2. He holds on pretty even through turn 3, but you see how much ground he loses every time in turn 1. I think he's really losing the handling on those 2 tires through that first corner.
We'll have to see how it all plays out here.
Gaiman in that dirty air there, you can see he's getting offline a little bit. Oh, Michelle pushing everything and clipping the wall just a bit. 5 to go.
Again, he's playing with house money. He's already got 2 wins. A 3rd win would look nice, but he doesn't need a 4th. Like, he's obviously the wins what matters here. Doesn't matter if he ends up bringing home the steering wheel. He's already got the wins, locking himself in the playoffs. Gaiman, this is the last help Michelle needs. He needs Leiter to make it wide. Leiter got loose.
They all get loose. They're both in the wall. And now around. Keep it straight. They just about get away with that. Daniel Michelle did not lift Matthew Leiter hard into the wall for the second time tonight.
Off the apron. We should probably see him tow. No caution. He'll actually get it refired here. Way off the line. There he is. No chance of a caution. It's only a single car.
Yeah, that was scary because right in front of the leaders, and this is going to open up another opportunity for for Michelle rather, who did not lift for a moment with that car coming across the track. It very easily could have sent Gaiman on his lid if he would have got tagged in the right rear there. So very lucky there. Good heads up driving as well. All 3 of them were sideways coming out of turn number 1. There was smoke in the air, skid marks on the track. Probably skid marks in the fire suits as well.
Yeah.
But Michelle is really pushing, especially with all the struggling he does. Look how hard it is to get through turn number 1 there. 4 to go.
I don't think he's done yet. He's got maybe one more chance at this. He's going to have to find a way, though, with Gaiman, though. Again, this track being very track position dependent, one line. He's got to hope Gaiman makes a mistake. That's his only chance he'll have any run at it. He's keeping it close. Similar to how we see in position 3, Wanzing and Roberts. Roberts is keeping it close to Wanzing, but Roberts just can't get the job done. Similar to Feather placing Reynolds in 5th.
Yeah.
He can get close, but you can't get the job passed.
I think he needed that lapper. That lapper was kind of his opportunity. Oh, Tom Sears has crashed in the number 14 car.
Oh, you're right. He has towed the pit lane.
Take a quick look at it here. We'll take a look at the Matthew Leiter incident as well if we can. Here's a look at Sears. Oh, did he get help?
Yeah, looks like probably the right man. Yeah, give him a little turn there.
I don't know.
Similar to Leiter.
I'm not sure if he got loose first or had a little bit of help. We'll have to take another look at that. But here's a look at the Leiter incident. Look at how sideways all 3 of them were off the corner. Leiter overcorrects it, sends it down into turn 1 and hard into the inside wall the second time. That's the Leiter of the 2 crashes he's had tonight. And no, I wasn't trying to make a pun there. On board with Gaiman now, looking back at Michelle, 4/10 is the gap. Keep an eye on Roberts and Wanzing as well. That fight's not quite over either. Emma Kruger still fighting now with Kent for 8th, so it looks like she's recovered a little bit despite the issues she was having with the wall there. 2 laps remain.
2 laps to go here. Michelle, he's holding that 4/10 advantage, but he just, Gaiman, she's holding that 4/10 advantage, he just can't There's nothing to do.
But with 2
It's
tires, you've got to hand it to him. He's done an incredible job to hang with that 61, but now he's starting to run out of tire finally.
Yeah, tires finally hit their peak. It's hit their cliff. And it's still a great effort. He got that car, jumped Wanzing using that strategy, and was able to keep the gap. So it's still a podium position and basically locked down. Here's the battle for the last step of the podium. Roberts, now or never. Obviously, you don't want to wreck your boss for a spot.
Or do you? How bad do you want the podium? Wanzing's already got a win. Or no, he doesn't actually, but Roberts already has a win, I mean to say.
Considering team switches can happen in a few rounds here, I think it's 3 rounds, and those team swap can happen. Obviously, you're not going to fire the driver that has the win in the playoffs and have a chance at constructors. But final lap
look at
here.
The sparks coming out the back there. He's got a good opportunity here.
Oh, here he comes.
Side by side, down into turn 1. Look at how far we've seen Roberts go even lower than that today. He's ready to go off into turn 1. Side by side, he knows his boss doesn't have the win that he does, but he still wants the position. And I don't think Wanzing's going to fight that because he has a lot more to lose.
Yeah, a DNF here would cost him more points and push him farther into the Hornets. Now it's the top 4. Considering a lot of the drivers on the bubble are behind him, you don't need to press that issue. We'll cut back the game, and he's got one more corner to navigate here. If he brings it home, this is going to be all his.
Yeah, and I think he's got plenty of room back to Daniel Michel, who put up an incredible fight on 2 tires, but it's going to be the man who swept both stages, the man who's going to sweep all 3. Josh Gaiman comes out of turn number 3. What, turn 4? He knows a thing or two about that from Pennsylvania. Josh Gaiman wins it at Pocono.
Hometown boy will win, a home state boy, I should say, will win it. Battle for second, it goes to Michelle. Roberts going to bring it home in third. Wanzing gets a top 5, and Feather Plays rounds out the top 5. 5 wins. Tommy brings it home in 6. David Wright going to keep 7th. He will grow the gap on the bubble line and will give himself more cushion. 8th, Kent. 9th, Kruger. 10th, LaJoy. That's how the slot in the top 10.
What a nice little race. Pocono does not disappoint.
Nope.
And it's not going to disappoint Josh Gaiman at all, I have a feeling. Very ecstatic in that 61 machine. His 3rd win of the season. We mentioned it earlier, he won on 2 of the most driver racetracks in the series, on Bristol Dirt, and also a little bit of congratulations there from Seth Wanzing. Won at Bristol Dirt and Darlington. Add Pocono to the list. 3 of the most unique tracks as far as ovals go on the schedule.
He won on a track with dirt, he won on a track that's shaped like an egg, and he won on a track that's a triangle.
Shaped like a hash brown.
Yeah.
He's got the whole breakfast line up there, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm. Now just needs to find a strip of bacon and he'll be all good.
Well, where's Martinsville at? He's going to burn it down here. He has mastered the tricky triangle. And well-earned burnouts for the number 61 machine. Some interesting burnouts he's pulling off there.
Hey, he's excited. He's going to burn it down the way he likes to burn it down.
I don't know if he busted the drive shaft there, but it looked like he ran out of... There he goes. He gets it going again. See the unofficial order scrolling by on the top of your screen. We'll take a full look at that in a little bit, but we'll see if we can't have a word with Gaiman, Michelle, and Roberts before it's all said and done. And a big tip of the hat to Bren Roberts, up 20 positions. Started 23rd, brings it home on the podium with that last lap pass on team boss Seth Wanzing. Another good effort for Wanzing as well.
He proves that if you have a bad heat race, it's not all doom and gloom. He had that mistake, pancaked that wall, got him that bad poor starting spot, and he had the pace to get back up, and he made it work.
Absolutely. So it is Josh Gaiman who is your race winner. It's a 7th career win in the A² Cup Series for him. We'll see if we can't have a word with some drivers here. Josh Gaiman. And Kevin, I don't have the ability to pull drivers in, so if you're able to do that.
Yep, I'll go down the interview group here. We will, if I can refine, server's always a little bit argy-bargy. All right, we'll drag in. Who do you want first? You want the winner?
I want to talk to Gaiman. I got some
All
words
right, we'll
with my
bring Josh
teammate.
Gaiman here. So Gaiman, he'll be coming on in first here, and here he is.
Josh, this is Kristina and Kevin in the AVM booth. You got a copy?
I got you.
Well, you've won at the egg. You've won at the dirt, and now you've won at the triangle. How does that one feel? A dominant performance tonight.
It's making me feel like I'm really good at all the weird tracks, and I can't do crap at any of the cookie cutter stuff. Maybe we need more of that.
Well, it was an excellent effort. You had really no trouble in that first stage. You had a good fight from Wanzing in the second stage, and then all of a sudden, it seems like you had some struggling with two tire gamble with you there in the second, or that final stage rather. Managed to hang on. Were you surprised that those two tires hung on as well as they did?
I didn't take 2.
No,
With Daniel.
with Daniel, yeah.
I'm amazed that it worked at all because the left sides were wearing just as much as the right sides. But he got out a little bit, but I figured if he did 2, it was going to be a lot more than that. So like I knew the gap was enough that as long as I ran 5-10 good laps, I'd be able to get into the draft and really pull. This car's just got a massive bubble behind it.
For you to be able to go out there and dominate your stage, dominate stage 1, dominate stage 2, and go out and win this race, I wouldn't say handily because it wasn't without its fights, but to go out and win the race in such a dominant fashion, that's got to feel good and re-energize you headed forward into the chase.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's home track, without a track like Nazareth or something like that, schedule, but
R.I.P. the goat.
It's exactly, yeah. But home track wins a home track wins, so it always feels good to win here. I like the track, but it's, of course, everyone's got a love-hate relationship with it. But what are you gonna do?
Well, you went out and won. I guess that's what you were gonna do about it. So, with that being said, if you have anybody you want to thank, now's the time. We finally got your paint scheme working about halfway through the race, so you can shout out your sponsors.
Yeah. Lucky you. It didn't work for me the entire practice session or the race.
So it wasn't just a me problem. Good.
No, it was also down for me as well.
Okay,
so.
cool.
I think it's from Spa. I want to say it's from Spa, but yeah, shout out 213 Simware, McConey Setup Shop, and W Energy. Shout out Stepping Stone Motorsports, and B-Tron Racing, of course. Everybody that helps me out throughout the week and puts down laps, with me or throughout the practice sessions and the official race session. But it's been an awesome year so far. Some ups and downs, but I think overall it's a real big positive from last year even.
Well, congratulations, Josh. It's your 7th career win in A Squared Cup Series, your 3rd on the season, and what better place than your home track? We were joking how you wanted a track shaped like a hash brown, one shaped like an egg. Martinsville coming up sooner or later. You might want to go for the strip of bacon, get the full breakfast sweep.
I was thinking it was more like a baguette, but yeah.
It works for me. A little bit of toast there,
Yeah, different options.
Well, congratulations, Josh. Good luck moving forward, and congrats on the hometown victory.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
And now we'll continue on down the line here, and we'll bring in the second place car here with Daniel Michel.
Daniel, this is Kristina and Kevin in the ABM booth. Do you have a copy?
I do.
Well, 2-tire strategy. You were running good all day long on normal strat. Took a gamble there at the end on 2. Well, walk us through that decision to make the 2-tire stop and walk us through those last few laps trying to fight Josh Gaiman off.
It was real tough. Just from the start of the race, I was really struggling on the setup. It's way too tight for me. I was more of a fan of the quali setup, even though I hated that thing. It was just way too loose, but I don't like a tight car, and I knew that if I took 2 tires there in that last stage, I might be able to leapfrog them and try and stay up front. But once I got into the wall, probably, I want to say lap 68 or so, Gaiman was catching way too quick, and once he had the draft, I just couldn't do anything about it. So, I enjoyed it. It was good. I was happy how it worked out. The second place wasn't bad.
With the net gain, too, of course, you jumped Seth Wanzing, as you mentioned. Were you surprised, even with the bubble of the draft, that you were able to stay with Gaiman there? Do you think a few more laps, maybe you would have had something else for him? Or was it kind of just the draft carrying you along there?
Well, the draft was definitely carrying me. I knew that I was faster in turns 2 and 3. It seemed like I could rotate the car a little better with those 2 tires since I was a little bit more loose. But turn 1, it was completely unstable. I couldn't hold the line because it wouldn't grip, and once you try and get on the exit, it just had no stability in the rears. So it sucks. Gaiman was way faster. I had to try something, so not mad.
Yeah, we were watching you on board. You were absolutely driving the wheels off of that thing to stay with him. So still a really, really good effort. Obviously, P2, a podium for you, a great finish. Of course, you got those 2 wins in your back pocket moving in anyway, so not like you're at risk of losing a spot in the championship. So with that, another strong finish to carry in and some good stage points as well. If there's anybody you want to thank, now would be the time to do it. Congratulations on a P2 finish.
I want to thank my team, Sunday Money Racing. They obviously finished 2-3-4. If we could have gotten the first, it would have been great, but amazing points day for all of us, and this is what we needed to move forward, and I'm feeling good about the future. And I don't want to thank Trading Paints. It wasn't working. I don't know what was going on both on the stream side and my side. It just was not functioning. But I'd like to thank the broadcast because I know that it was a bit of a hassle, and you guys still managed to get it in.
Well, thank you very much, Daniel. And when you put on a show like that, it wasn't a hassle at all. In the end of it, it was a great show to watch. So you put on a good one, and we'll see you next week out.
Yep, thank you.
So that's P2 of Daniel Michel. We'll see if we can catch a word with Bren Roberts now, who made a brilliant pass for 3rd place on his team boss.
We'll bring him right in right now.
Bren, this is Kristina and Kevin in the ABM booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, it was a pretty exciting closing stage there for you. You were wiggling all over the track. You look like an IndyCar driver. A little bit of that Champ Car experience coming through towards the end to help you out, battling with Kruger in the mid phase, and then of course battling with your team boss there at the end. Walk us through first of all, battling with your team boss who doesn't have a win in the series yet. You having that one in your back pocket and just wanting to get that podium.
Well, a big issue happened because I didn't charge my headset, and it died about 25 laps left to go. So that was a big issue. You never realize how much sound matters in iRacing until you don't have it. But yeah, battling Seth. I know he doesn't have a win. I know he's, battling for points, but at the end of the day, it's a race, and I wanted to get 3rd, and so I was as patient as I could, and I gave him an opportunity to, get faster, and I just decided I wanted 3rd. So I mean that was it at the end of the day. And then the weaving back and forth on the straight, Emma probably hates me, and Tommy Reynolds probably hates me, but I had to do what I had to do to protect my teammates. I didn't want them to get my draft and then pass me and then get their draft, so I was going all over the place to try to create a gap to my teammates. I was trying to be a good teammate, and so I still ended up with 3rd, so it's okay.
I gotta ask you, because there was one point when you were weaving down into the tunnel turn, and you got offline and carried the car up to the wall. Could you hear the Curb Your Enthusiasm theme when you smacked the wall out of 2 that time?
Well, I smacked the wall out of 2 a bunch. I was pretty familiar with it. I gave the right side of my car a lot of character tonight. But yeah, it came back to bite me a couple times when I messed up my entry to the corner. But at that point, I didn't think I had the speed, so I was just protecting my teammates, and wherever I finished was where I finished. I obviously have a win, but it worked out in the end for me anyway.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, how was it driving up through the field? Pocono, such a unique racetrack, such a driver's racetrack, and you having that issue in the heat race that put you all the way in the back, coming back from 23rd, gaining the most positions, almost double the positions of anybody else around you, to finish on the podium. It had to be a pretty fun drive to drive all the way back through the field like that.
Well, I'll be honest, it was not fun at all. I think because Pocono, you can't really pass, and the draft is so strong here. Everybody's all packed up in different packs. I've never seen such hard racing back in the field. It was unbelievable, but it was all in good fun. I don't think anybody has any beefs with each other. At least I don't. I don't know if anybody else does, but it was just really, really, really hard to pass. And I think that was evident when the last couple laps when I was behind Seth. I kept dummying him and trying to get him to make a mistake going on the entry, and you just can't pass. It's so tough.
Well, you did finish 3rd. You had a great little pass, put some fans on their feet on that final lap, and I want to give you the chance, obviously, with that podium finish, to thank your sponsors if you have, and anybody you want to thank with a brilliant effort there to get it on the podium in a last lap effort.
Thanks to my team, Sunday Money Racing, Daniel and Seth. They're so fast, and we had a new driver, Donald, tonight. Donald's one of the veterans of this series. He took a little break, and I'm really glad to have him on our team. Thanks to you all for broadcasting, and if anybody with connections to Sheets is listening, please sponsor me. I do a lot of free sponsorship for Sheets, so, or at least give me free food. That works too.
Well, there you got it. Brent Roberts probably going to go to Sheets and have a nice little sub sandwich after this one, Sunday money.
I haven't eaten dinner yet. Don't get me hungry right now.
Well, we're about to get out of the booth, go to the snack bar. You know, we gotta have a good opportunity here for us. But congratulations, Brent. You've definitely earned yourself a nice little Coca-Cola throwback with some Sheets sponsorship. I think you've definitely earned some of that tonight. Congrats, man.
Thank you.
So that will do it for our podium interviews, and a great little race from Pocono. It never seems to disappoint. It may not always put on the most exciting races, but tonight was an exception. A great little race with no cautions outside of the stage breaks and only a few incidents to boot. Some hard impacts though for Matthew Leiter. Unfortunately, he got the 1-2. But here's a quick look at, speaking of Matthew Leiter, he'll be showing up here in the race results, which should be showing up right about now.
Oh, hey.
Well, the bottom half of them anyway. There we go. Josh Gaiman, your winner. Of course, these are all unofficial results. You can keep posted to abn.com and a few other
Locations,
sites to
platforms. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. But it is one thing that is not under debate is that Gaiman, Daniel Michel, and Brian Roberts are your top three, as we just spoke to them. Seth Wansing with another great effort to keep himself pointing his way into the championship. Brandon Fetterplace losing a few positions, but still ends up with a top 5 despite the damage from Tommy Reynolds, who he ends up besting after that choose cone incident. And then it's David Wright, Matthew Kent, Emma Kruger, and Mike LaJoy, the top 10. Kevin.
And we'll work our way down the order to finish it up here, rounding out the top 10 here, if I can ever find my SDK program. There we go. James Kerr 11th, Ryan Pinnell 12th, Don Wright 13th, Briley Wright 14th, Cody Riggs, good rebound race here, gets a top 15. Still looking to get that first win. Alfred George, Tommy Withers 16th, Alfred George 17th, Kevin Feemster 18th, Stefan Oberstadt, good qualifying position, but didn't have that much good in the race, finishes 19th. Matthew Leiter, 2 hard licks for him, and he'll bring the car home in 20th. Then finishing it up here with Dale Makowski, Tom Sears, Edward Marshall, Jack Mulkey, and Austin Pinnell. Last place billing here after pulling off after 16 laps.
Yeah, and Kevin, I gotta say, as we close this one out, I am thoroughly impressed with the product that we had today. I wasn't expecting it to be a snoozer necessarily. I'm just very impressed with the product. Not too many incidents, not too many mess-ups here and there. Everybody kind of minded their P's and Q's, save for a few. And the only real dorky incident was under caution.
Honestly, it was a race Carmen would have loved. Hopefully Carmen can be back here next week if everything goes well with her. Hopefully she's doing well right now with the struggles.
Yes, we love you, Carmen.
But regardless, yeah, fun race. And next week we're going to Richmond, which may not be as fun because short track tempers and whatnot.
Oh, it'll be fun for us. It might not be
for
those drivers.
Drivers, I feel like there'll be a few drivers going to the post-race hauler afterwards to let the tempers know.
That's how you know it's been a real Richmond race, when people are trying to throw fists in the pit lane. But luckily, we're all behind computer screens, and maybe that's for the best headed into next week. But Kevin, it's been an absolute blast sharing the booth with you again. Been an honor to be here and fill in for Carmen. I can't quite fill the boots of her, but it's always great to be in here and get to commentate with some old friends and see some of the people I race with week in, week out on the track. It's always fun to get that perspective. So with that being said, that'll do it for us here on ABN. Thank you so much for watching. You can keep up with us on the website or in the Discord or on Twitter. Be sure to follow us on all social medias for more updates and anything that comes from ARCS or any other of the ABN coverages. We'll see you next time in Richmond. Take care, have a great week, and we'll see you next time.